there's some people that we've seen before. You know, I can remember quite a few teams. Some of the guys, like Render on Dignity, for example. You know, I followed him all the way back to when we were both doing Team Fortress 2 stuff together, and now I've definitely he's a guy I've kind of followed closely, but from Just a Minute Gaming, and now he's in Dignity, and like there are some guys that have definitely been kicking around for quite a while, uh, and that gives them a chance to just, again kind of show up here, prove that they belong, and it's also good for some of these newer people to actually try and show comparative to them.
And as you said, very well tested, especially in other titles that sort of have a couple of disciplines and a couple of skills that will carry over from other titles to Overwatch, like you mentioned, Team Fortress 2, and the long history that you've had with that game, and a lot of the other players, which is still a really good thing to see. Basically a spirit rekindled, as it were. So as you see, we have the two matches that we will have on stream, which is Twitch Vision and Surge. And for the off-stream games, we have Paradigm Shift, Mort Black, and Dignity and Cascade. And a very full-on night, and it definitely will be the tale of the basically this entire tournament. It will go on for the next 5 weeks.
Well, and we don't have much time to figure out what those next 5 weeks are looking like because we don't need to. We get to start right here, right now. We are jumping in to Lijiang Tower, Twisted Vision versus Surge.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out, whether or not, or how how these teams are going to be approaching this, how if they're going to have any interesting strategies to really throw at each other right off the bat, or if they're going to play a little bit more standard and just test the waters until they can really set their feet.
They do have a little bit of leeway in terms of trying to find their footing. But it'll come down to how well you know the map. This is probably the best neutral ground to start on, in my opinion, which is the garden for Lijiang Tower. Lots of keep your eyes in the skies because we will see. Koi's already got the right idea. You see the Pharah already being in play, and perhaps we'll see a counterpart. Yes, we will. We'll see a duel to keep an eye out on. We have Autumn and Koi going at it, and we have 15 seconds. Make that 10 as of now until the gates drop and we begin the Rise Up Invitational.
I'm very, very intrigued to see if we get anything. It looks to be a fairly standard comp. It's actually going to be mirrored right now. Both teams running same lineups. That means that they're getting ready to dive right forward here. And we are live into the Rise Up Invitational. Of course, Am Dreamboat joined by Cyberwaste and GL Phoenix as we have these players just up around throwing in some damage right now, seeing where they can get the opening pick here, Phoenix.
Yeah, just poking and prodding, just hoping, trying to get a lot of that aerial superiority and just allow their team to then dictate the pace from the ground. It looks like Autumn is going to get the first kill. Really nicely done there, but Koi manages to take Base God out of the fight. There's no way to resurrect that Zenyatta after he's been thrown right off the map. And now the point is open, and the fight is starting to come towards the ground as GRTK is going to be able to take down a mech and also a couple of members himself. So really nicely done here from the side of Surge as the fight is going to continue on the point here, Cyber.
Yeah, Surge have indeed shocked the system and overtaken the point. There is only the Winston of Buzz trying to buy time. Very angry, very agitated, and very possessive it would seem. But QBM will eventually take down Volodante. And this fight is still fighting tooth and nail as we basically still didn't even kill, and the point hasn't even been fully captured until pretty much now.
Well, they are getting right in there as these barrages are coming out. Busy Koi getting 2 of them will eventually take his own life as well. But Volante's picked off the Mercy as well, which is a nice pick. Buzz, though, he's come back with a quick pair with the help of Breezy, and they will actually cap this out. Looks like we're actually going to lose that fight after some nice play from Koi.
Yeah, really nicely done there from Twisted Vision just to at least delay that capture for long enough to allow the reinforcements to come in from the rest of the team, and they were able to take the fight. Koi managed to get a nice position to get that rocket barrage out, but after taking one down, ended up taking themselves down, and it was just very hard for them to come back in. So now, coming into this second fight, Volante opening up with a nice kill onto QVN. Started it very nicely as they're going to start making their way towards the point, but there are quite a few ultimates for the defensive side as the Transcendence is going to get popped. We can see the fight starting to go in favor of Twisted Vision here, Cyber.
Yes, indeed. And they do eventually hold out as we go into 40%. And it's pretty much an even keel in terms of ult advantage. We do have the self-destruct of the Pulse Bomb, but not a whole lot else for the sides of Surge Esports Club. And we see the same on the other side for Twisted Vision. So it'll be, they're running out of chances, and there goes the Q to engage. Autumn has been dropped like a stone thanks to Monstrosity's self-destruct. That will give the Mercy a little bit of a decision to make, whether to bring the comrade back up or to concede the fight. QVN will drop Volante, being the Winston with a little bit of assistance for the rest of the team. The feed is painted blue. Base God will eject Monstrosity from the mech. He will be a pilot for a little bit of time. The barrage did come out from Autumn and says it will be a cold Autumn and winter for you, as they try and try to surge out the point, but it is not to be. They'll have to recoil one more time and give it a go. They're running out of chances, Dreamboat.
Yeah, and they're doing a very forward play right now, just trying to get someone booped off the ledge here with Autumn on Pharah. Let's see if they actually succeed with the boop. Koi is going to get rezzed here, and that is going to be the engagement coming in. This is the last stand right now that Surge have, and Surge will pick off Base God. Koi getting 2 there. It's a nice set of kills. Breezy will take him out in the end, but these kills have started to go the way of Surge ESC. What can they continue to find? And that's actually, is that a double boot from Nope? Or demeching the Diva, I should say, was almost insane. As Nora is going to be able to, you know, demech and Monstrosity, but that's all he's able to find. Small consolation prize for that one.
Yeah, Surge finally managed to get themselves on the point, but for the side of Twisted Visions, they do have quite a few ultimates to work with once they come in for their next attack, whereas on the defensive side, they have a Primal Rage and a Valkyrie, so they have to be very careful with how they use this, but they're going to use it right away, trying to keep the rest of the team alive long enough for them to start picking up some of their ultimates themselves. As the Transcendence comes through for the offensive side, as does the Rocket Barrage, takes care of the Diva immediately, which is really nice stuff for the fight. Resurrection comes down, so Monstrosity is going to be back into the fight. Bast managed to take down Volante, and Autumn gets one onto Nope, so this fight for Twisted Vision is starting to take control, and here comes the Diva Mech Explosion, trying to get something, trying to get some more room. Doesn't end up getting anyone, but with Fatebringer going down, that's a lot of the sustain, a lot of the extra people on the point that is not going to be able to come through, and it looks like this fight is going to go over to the side of Twisted Vision here, Saber.
Yes, indeed. Surge are only trying to delay the inevitable. They fought in single file, but Twisted Vision will cast their spell and plant their flag. The first point of Lijiang Tower will go to them, but we move on to the next. Whew, take a breather. What do you make of all that?
Like some really good job just zoning some of the players out. It really felt, you know, like Twisted Vision. They managed to get a nice kind of presence on the point, and really some of these players from Surge were trying to get in. They were doing a good job moving as a unit, but there was still just really good team play from Twisted Vision to separate some of these kills out. But Phoenix, we have now moved indoors. We'll see how this changes things up here for the second segment of this map.
Yeah, we still have Autumn and GRTK sticking to the Pharah. Not necessarily the most freedom you have in the skies in this stage, but there are avenues to which you can control utilizing the Pharah. So we do have the pharmacies yet again, and as we do have Twisted Vision actually getting a little bit more position on the point. Now we do have to really look at these Pharahs and the amount of damage going through across both sides, as the point is going to get unlocked now. We have to see how Surge try and make their way to try and contest the point here, Cyber.
They're not even going to be able to contest. The point will immediately flip over to Twisted Vision, and Volante has been turned into German scrap metal. My apologies, my good friend. And Koi will put a arrow right through Breezy's face, but Noah will undo that frag. And, well, Twisted Vision just ran in, shoved him out, And that was pretty much the end of that. And now Surge will have to walk back, recoil, and try to figure out what they will do. And Fatebringer might have bought the corner R's by using the Valkyrie.
They are starting to move forward, trying to grab some space, and Corey's gonna get a nice shot there onto the Mercy. Here comes the barrage though from Autumn. He only manages to find one before GRTK picks him off. Now there's been a really good job by surging into this point, taking a lot of space. They found some kills, but Base God on that Zenyatta has picked off Koi. Really find another kill. He's trying to duel out his rival Zenyatta. He's right up in his face there. He's actually gonna pop the Transcendence to get out, and that's gonna allow these spawns to come back in. Against all odds, they've seemed to hold this point.
Yeah, it seems as though basically that Transcendence at that end may have not been all that necessary, but it does secure it for themselves. They do have a few other ultimates to work with. But on the other side, Surge, they had a very strong start to the fight. Koi managing to take down members right at the start, but they weren't able to really follow up on it as an Earth Shadow gets dropped, but does not land. So it is going to be a bit of an Earth Shadow to kind of forget for Bus, but now they are actually going to start making the way to some more congested areas as the Graviton does get popped, and it looks like they're going to throw in the Dragon as well. But on the backside, GFTK does manage to take down Nor, as because the Transcendence came through Cyber, they weren't able to really get anything out of that combo.
No, not at all. It was essentially nullified. There goes the Dragons from the side of Surge ESC. Did not really get all that much. The Mighty Hammer came down from Volante. Actually claimed a couple of victims. Buzz got taken out very quickly, and just in the nick of time, Surge have ticked over. But Dreamboat, they have a long hill to climb.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy for them, going 0 to 100 real fast. But they are starting to build the climb up. They have a couple tools coming up. They already have the Valkyrie. They're very close on that Graviton Surge. So they have a few pieces of the puzzle to try and hold it, but there's a lot coming back at them very quickly. And you can tell that Twisted Vision are going to want to get right in here. They're starting to engage, starting to press forward. A lot comes onto this Graviton. They pull them all in together, but the Transcendence is going to undo a lot of that work. Autumn picking off the Zarya is a nice pick. GRTK will pick up his rival Pharah. And here comes the Dragons. They're not finding anything though here, Phoenix.
Yeah, it looked like it was just a little bit mistimed. The combination was just not there. It's a great boot coming out from Autumn. Sends Volante straight off of the map. He tried to get into a situation to start slamming away, but it just wasn't enough as the Transcendence has to get used just to get Surge back onto the point. And now Autumn and QVN are able to just let rip their ultimates and secure this point, and that is going to be it. Twisted Vision takes Lijiang Tower.
The Twisted Vision actually became clear towards the end. I'd say it was actually quite I wouldn't say dominant, but it took a lot of hard work for Surge to even try to get a proper rebuttal. And as you see, Doug will drop poor Breezy and the mech into the water. You'll be sleeping with the fishes, my friend. But what do you make of all that? A good showing from both sides, but a very good showing from Twisted Vision, who have a lot of different pieces.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things there is it felt at times there were a few big plays, especially from Corey, that you thought maybe Surge would be a twist of fate for them here, getting back into it, especially on that second segment. You thought that there was an opportunity for them to come back in, make it work, but Twisted Vision just working so well together. And unfortunately for Surge, that means that they have picked off map 1. The first map of Rise Up is in the bag. Congratulations to Twisted Vision on taking map 1.
Yeah, now we have to see where Surge want to go for the next map. The choice is between Gibraltar, Watchpoint Gibraltar and Rialto. So, Cyber, what are your thoughts about the decision coming into this next map?
It's very interesting because you have the epitome of old and new. Watchpoint Gibraltar is one of the maps that has been in for the longest time, both in the beta phase and since release, and the other map of Rialto is actually the newest map, which is just starting to cultivate, and the strategies are starting to come to fruition. And it'll be basically a coin flip. What Surge will want to do for their next move, and it'll actually be really curious to see what will happen.
And of course, if you are just tuning in, this is the Rise Up Invitational. This is day number 1, Twisted Vision versus Surge. Phoenix, this is definitely kind of a special event here with the number of good quality teams that we have, is it not?
Yeah, we've got some great teams, some up-and-comers and others who have been around in contenders here in Australia and really been putting up some good showings. And now they get to show it yet again on a great stage. And it looks like, Cyber, we are going to be going over to the good old-fashioned Gibraltar here for map 2.
Indeed, we have a update from the sidelines. One of the games that are off stream. Paradigm Shift and Moth Black are going at it, and Paradigm Shift are now up 1-0. So they took the W for Lijiang Tower this evening, and they joined Twisted Vision in sharing that accolade, getting the first map win to their name for the Rise Up Invitational. But back to the topic at hand, we do have Watchpoint Gibraltar, which is really interesting, especially given a few of the changes to the heroes and a new addition to the hero pool. For those that are wondering, Hammond is tournament legal, and I can't wait to see if he gets used.
Yeah, he's one of those heroes that it feels like you go into quick play, you go into being competitive. It's always there, I can't remember the last time I played a game without Hammond, but there's a lot difference than me seeing it coming out in the plat games that I play, than coming in here and seeing some actually good players using him. So I'm curious, I haven't been blown away with him at the lower level. I'm curious to see how it is going to play out at a much higher level.
Yeah, I feel as though with the Wrecking Ball, he seems to thrive more in the team situations. Like, if your opponent is going to be more spread out and kind of coming in at all these different angles and there's all these chaotic team fights, the Hammond doesn't necessarily get as much value because he wants to be essentially in the thick of it with more people around him, so he can get more value out of that adaptive shield and just draw a lot of the fire. But if he's only getting 1 or 2 people with that adaptive shield, he does seem to struggle a little bit more. He does bring a lot of crowd control and just disruption to a lot of these situations. So if you do have a static defense, he can really start to knock things around, Cyber.
Indeed, we have had a substitution as well, and Nami is now in. You see the little pick of Widowmaker DPS that is in the lineup. But in case you are just joining us, you are joining us on the opening night of the Rise Up Invitational. My name is Justin, aka Cyberwaste, and I have 2 lovely co-commentators, Dreamboat and GL Phoenix, and we greatly thank you for your company. And now, gentlemen, let us travel to Gibraltar.
Alrighty, and it is going to be Surge on defense first. I'm interested to see Surge on attack first, I'm sorry. And it looks like, well, as far as we can see, Volante is at least hovering that Hammond the Wrecking Ball, but I've been baited before when it comes to attacking sides, hovering things before the gates actually open.
Do not spec him when he's doing the roller ball, it will actually make you sick. I learned that the hard way. But we see a pretty standard defense for Watchpoint Gibraltar, especially because there are so many long distances that you have to cover, and so many long sight lines that are basically a field day for a Widowmaker that has the hot hand. That will definitely show it off, and sadly, no hams to Phoenix. We're going to be left wanting. The gate's open.
Really bad.
Let's begin.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nami is coming in to fulfill that Widow role, so now that they are going to be going into those Widow duels, and that's exactly what we want to see. Nami getting that first pick onto GRTK. This is what they want out of this substitution here, Dreamboat.
Well, they have pulled up the res to try and bring GRTK back into this, but definitely a good opener there from Nami. However, that's the only thing that they really managed to grab as this card is starting to make its way down through the underground. One back up the other side.
Leaping onto the high ground. It looks like Surge is just really wanting to push back the defense and give the cart a little bit more room to move. It's almost out of the ditch now. That'll be exactly what they want. And Twisted Vision have just put the clamps on it Autumn had a big part to play in that one, and that card is not going to be moving anymore, and Surge will have to sort of restructure that, because that just fell apart in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it feels as though the two parts of the attack were just not really in line. We had the dive, the very heavy dive going from that front line, but the rest of the team was not really there to follow up. GRTK was not in a position to abuse a lot of those long sightlines, and it just allowed the rest of the defense of Twisted Vision to just pick apart the front line and just completely ignore the rest of the team. And they've really set up a strong defense. They don't necessarily need to have that aggressive forward defense, as they are very fine just playing it back, playing into a very secure defense back towards the point, and making it very hard for Surge to make their way through.
We do have the Dragon Blade coming in here. Monstrosity is going to get a big kill onto the Brigida before that comes in. Oh, I thought they were going to deback the Diva, but the bomb coming out. Not able to find anything, but that's going to delay a lot of the Dragon Blade. It's going to allow this Widow to potentially get... Nope! Gets hunted down. I thought Nami had a chance to escape. But Koi doing all kinds of work right now on this Genji, picking up the Mercy as well, and this should be them capping the first point up here.
Only delaying the inevitable now. Autumn will be brought down by the entire team, and that is that. The first checkpoint will fall to Surge Esports Club, and now the next task is to push it through the hangar. And that'll make things a little bit easier with one healer taken out of the equation. And the second one will fall prey to Koi. So this card will basically move uncontested for the time being.
Yeah, and this is what they wanted to be doing with that first push, having the whole team there to follow up on those diving engagements. And once they take down that support cast on the side of Twisted Vision, it's very hard for the rest of the team to stick around. And they are going to try and make a play at least towards the end of the hangar bay, as Basecott does get a nice kill onto GRTK, the Widow, so that's going to be a bit of a thorn for them to try and work their way through, and it does stall out this push for just a little bit longer, Dreamboat.
Yeah, Basecott popping off right there, picking down both the Widow and the Winston. You know, just catching W's there, and he's doing his best to help his team catch the W in this game. You have the hacks coming out from the Widow, giving Nami some nice sight lines here, seeing if he can figure out where they're coming from. And these players are actually just going to be sitting back. They don't want to peek that. They're too scared as the wall hacks have expired, so now we should see them start to move back in.
Yeah, now we see the amount of ultimates coming in for the side of Surge. They can play this pretty loose when it comes to the ultimate economy. They do manage to get an early kill onto Bus, and is not in a good position for the resurrection. And here comes the Blade. They take down Nami. Koi is trying to take down more, gets down Base God, and that should secure this fight for the side of Surge. They didn't even have to invest all that much with this one, Cyber.
No, not at all. Only a single blade on Sheath, and it basically cut the entire team in half. And now it is only the Diva on the side of Twisted Vision to try and bleed a bit more time. Breezy, what can he do with that, my man? There goes the self-destruct from Monstrosity. Does not get any of the defenders, but it will bring them enough time. But Breezy will get the member of Koi to hit the deck, but GRTK will get a upper hand in the Widow duel for the time being, and Nope will get rid of Base God. Just an all-out scrap on the payload just before the second gate, just to either bleed a bit more time or find a bit more stability for the side of Twisted Vision, Dreamboat.
Yeah, Breezy's starting to get another couple kills. He's doing a lot of work right now. We'll clean up his rival Diva as well. And really just nice job by him holding that one down. Good work by Twisted Vision to maintain their position. And I'm curious to see. We do still see GRTK sticking on the Widow duel. He's got the confidence in it. I was curious to see if he'd swap off at this point, see if they change their approach. It looks like they're committing to it.
Yeah, they are trying to commit to having those long sight lines, or the support of the Widow just claiming heads, or potentially claiming heads, but because of that failed push, they have been put behind when it comes to the ultimate economy now, as it seems that Twisted Vision, realizing that they have the better position, they are starting to push forward a little bit more, as Autumn stepping a little bit too far forward, and that is going to be a very unfavorable position. They aren't going to be able to get a res, and that is going to force the Valkyries from both sides. GRTK managed to get the kill onto Nami for Lonte take down Base God, but the return kills are going to come in for the side of Twisted Vision. As the fight is going to keep on going, the destruction is going to get put into not the best of positions as it is going to be completely ignored by the side of Surge, as it's just trading back and forward on the point, but it looks like Twisted Vision are able to hold on for just a little bit longer here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, they're doing what they can to delay it out. There's 20 seconds though. That means the Surge need to start moving forward, but they can't do it because Breezy's just destroying them. Again, demeching and then cleaning up Monstrosity. Now, that's a very late stagger coming in because they need to go in despite Ron not even being spawned yet.
If you see from the positions of the side of Surge, they're very scattered. They have only just convened and have pushed it into overtime, and Base God have made sure that Surge are playing a man down and making it permanent. And then Najme and Awesome will contribute as well. Fatebringer has gone to the bench, and it's only a matter of time with Monstrosity being the mecha pilot with the body blaster. That won't do you much good. They fall just short of the second checkpoint to do Twisted Vision, and it'll be up to Surge to match.
Yeah, it was just really nicely done there from the defense, just holding on strong, utilizing their ultimates when they came up in that very scrambled style of defense in some of those fights. But in the end, it is going to be Twisted Vision getting a nice hold there at second point. So Surge, they're going to have to put up some strong resistance here. And I really got to look at really taking a liking to Nami coming in as essentially the super sub here and really making it work here on the Widow here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely tough as well, considering that Koi was on Genji and doing like stupid amounts of work, it felt like, for Surge. You know, anytime you see a Genji that's running red hot as a Widow player, makes your heart a little bit panicked because they might try and get up in your face. Didn't manage to do that though, managed to be zoned well, and that allowed Nami to do all kinds of work. And now we see a little bit of a swap as we bring things over. Corey is on that Widowmaker. I guess GRTK, not feeling too hot in the Widow duel, decided it was time for Corey to take over. He's picked up the Hanzo instead.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what the attack of Twisted Vision will bring to the table. They're doing their annual. It's pretty much annual for a lot of the attacking teams. Just do a lot of goofy picks to throw off both the casters and perhaps even the their opponents as well if they see any of their reflections. But I doubt that. 14 now, going down to 10 seconds until the gates open. Can Surge match the defensive prowess that Twisted Vision did show? Or will Twisted Vision run them down? Let's find out.
Yeah, interestingly enough, they are going to go with their Orisa, and I'm a little bit worried because we've seen very consistently static defenses can get punished really heavily if they're not able to get set up and stay there. As we do seem to get set up very high, as JFK gets a nice kill onto Autumn, the Resurrection does come in as well, but throughout all of this, the card is going to get pushed throughout this, and it does mean that the rest of the defense has to get forced back, but they do manage to set up before they get overtaken by this offense.
Big bad times ahead. If that payload gets stuck in the ditch, that will give the defense all the positioning in the world to get a good thing going, but GRTK gets absolutely deleted and destroyed. And just in the blink of an eye, the defense completely collapsed. And Twisted Vision will keep this payload rolling forward in dominant fashion, and you would definitely say that they had a far better time of getting the offense to work as opposed to their opponents in Surge, Dreamboat.
Yeah, I mean, Surge, don't get me wrong, they did a good job getting into the first point, but that was just absolutely silky smooth by Twisted Vision. And Breezy having picked off GFTK is a nice, you know, prize as well. Autumn will go down, has to be rezzed out. So there's no res right now on the side of Twisted Vision, but they're still engaging. And Nami's found, nope, that's a big kill onto the Zenyatta. They're still trying to move forward, and Boss is going to get the Mercy as well. There's no heals here. This is a tremendous opportunity for Twisted Vision.
Oh, wow.
Pinned Koi in the corner. And now they are rolling that payload forth.
No one can hide.
Yeah, we saw similar things when it came to Surge on their attack. They rolled through a lot of this second point, but with how consistently TV are able to just shut out this defense, the Dragon Blade does come through, as does the Dragon Strike on the return swing, but it is just going to be Autumn just cleaning up members left, right, and center for Twisted Vision. The Mech Explosion does come in, does manage to take down Autumn finally, so shuts him down but it looks like it's just going to be trading back and forth as Twisted Vision do just need a little bit more time and space, and it's only Volante left on the point. There's just too much coming out from the side of this Twisted Vision attack, and they are going to do it. They secure themselves the win, and they are going to take Gibraltar for themselves as well.
That was
Oh,
absolute squash dominance, I must say.
I thought there was a chance coming in there with that late engagement, but really, just the fact that Base God was alive, managing to throw that orb on a few of the enemy players, just meant that they got shredded coming back in. And Autumn doing so much work on that Genji. Jesus.
Yeah, that's a very apt reaction, especially after that particular effort. And whew, take a breather from that one. For those that are wondering, you are tuning in to the first night of the Rise Up Invitational. And Twisted Vision are your victors on Watchpoint Gibraltar and go up 2-0 in the series. And
we got a little bit of an off-stream announcement as well, because there is, of course, that game going with Moff Black versus Paradigm Shift. Moff Black actually picked up Gibraltar, so now they're at 1-1 in that series with Paradigm Shift. So close game in the other series as well.
Yeah, interesting to see the even scores there. But on this one that we have right here, Twisted Vision and Surge. Surge, so many opportunities to get the teamfight wins and keep the objective going for themselves. But time and time again, Twisted Vision, they're just coming in clutch in these scrappy fights, turning it around and making it very hard for Surge to stick around. And the way the ultimates have been used with Twisted Vision, really coming in clutch here, Cyber.
Indeed, and they've definitely put on a show. But Twisted Vision have staked their claim and already made a very good exclamation point as being a front runner, or a dark horse, if you will, for this Rise Up Invitational. But we will go to a quick break as we go into halftime for this format series between Twisted Vision and Surge. My name is Cyberwaste. I'm joined by GL Phoenix and Dreamboat. We thank you for your company. We will be back very, very shortly.
are back from map 3 of this 4-game set between Twisted Vision and Surge of round 1 of the Rise Up Invitational. This is day 1, series number 1. We have had a hot start right now. Twisted Vision have jumped out 2-0, taking Leung Tower and Gibraltar, but we are here in Horizon Lunar Colony, which is a bit of a different beast here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams are going to approach the attack and defense. There's a lot of different things that you can do. It can be a little bit rough trying to push through some of these earlier choke points, but once you get there, you can really start to tear apart these defenses, regardless of where they're set up. So I'm very interested to see how this Twisted Vision defense is going to get set up first, as they will be the first ones to try and hold on, and how Surge are going to try and make their way towards this point here, Cyber.
Well, I think Cyber has kicked the bucket. He is down for the count, but that is okay, Phoenix, because me and you together forever, and we can make this work. Speaking of make this work, hopefully we'll see Surge kind of change their fortunes here, make something work, and be able to kind of pull it out. They are going to be our opening attacking team. We will have Twisted Vision on defense.
Yeah, and already we can see Bus with the Orisa, and also Breezy going onto the Roadhog, so there's a decent amount of damage coming out of this defensive lineup from Twisted Vision, and oh, here we go. Volante does have this Wrecking Ball, and there's a lot of verticality that he can really make use of, and once we do get towards that point, he can be a real nuisance, as he's just going to completely ignore that static defense and walk straight past it, forcing the reaction out of the defense here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, he is just spot space, and now he's getting right up in on top of them, all up in their faces right now, just throwing some of those big cannons into the defense, forcing them back to point. It's a lot of nice space grab, but Nami is going to take out GRTK. That is the rival Widowmaker. And now we have Autumn on the Junkrat going hunting. He's on an adventure, just trying to do some damage. Hook's not landing, but so far that kill seems to be enough to kind of slow things down a little bit here for the attack.
Yeah, and they're not actually going to be using that Resurrection, just waiting for the... Oh, they were just waiting for the Widow to come back. We'll have a good sightline towards that point, as they are slowly making an approach, as here comes a Wrecking Ball right from the back, trying to draw a lot of attention to allow the rest of the team to make their way towards the point, and now is the all-out brawl, but with Volante going down immediately, they're not able to really get much out of that distraction that the Wrecking Ball was trying to create there, Dreamboat.
Yeah, he was doing... tried to do a lot of work, didn't work out, got shut down pretty heavily, and now it looks like Ron is going to be super staggered here. Unless, oh, he gets healed by the Mercy to get out. So that is actually pretty big, because if that was a late stagger, that would have slowed down this bring back in, being a great time for the defense. But instead, they're able to come right forward. We have the wall hex coming out right now from both snipers, so everybody is aware of where everyone is at the moment. Now it comes down to the execution.
Oh, we do have the Riptide coming in, completely denies Volante's move towards that point, so that is going to shut down this approach for just a little bit longer. I can see what they're trying to do with this combination. Use that Wrecking Ball to displace, or at least force the reaction out of this static defense, but Twisted Vision just not falling for it. They are just stonewalling them right now and making it very hard for this Surge approach here, Dreamboat.
Here comes Volante getting right back in on top of them as well, trying to get straight forward, doing what he's done thus far, but that's allowed space for the Dragon Blade to come in. However, this Transcendence is going to come down. Core's going to be cleaned up easily by Breezy on the Roadhog. And again, it just seems that this defense is getting all the opening picks. We have the bomb coming in from the defense. And it gets 3. It gets both healers, picking off the Junkrat. That is massive. That is a huge opening, and now they need to continue to go off of it. Breezy is here ulting, but he'll be cleaned up by Nope. There's just Bust with the Bongo at the back of this point, and he is being brawled away. Bongo down. Bust trying to delay as long as he can. Will be cleaned up, and that means that we have a tick going the way of Surge. They should get a second, and they may even full cap this before any kind of contention comes in. There will not be contention, so they get .1.
Absolutely. As soon as that mech explosion took down 3, that was pretty much it right there. There's no way you can really, well, there's very few ways that you can actually come back from a situation like that. But now point A has been captured. Now we're coming into point B. Have to see how this approach comes through. I'm not sure they'll be able to get such a money explosion as they did before, but Autumn, yet again, using the Riptide, takes care of that Wrecking Ball. It's going to stall at this defense just that little bit longer, and we're seeing Volante try and get some good approaches, but it's getting completely snuffed each and every time here.
And that's what Hammond relies on so often, and Name will get the better of GRTK, the Widow Jewel, which has gone on all night. Fatebringer will bring GRTK back into the frame, but that res will be off the table for the next 30 seconds or so. And Noah brings out the wings and has a call to arms. One is actually bought low, but is quite fine. Base Guard is turned into scrap thanks to Hanzo's arrows there from Koi. And there is a full out brawl on the second point, and it'll be up to Twisted Vision to try to scramble something back, but it looks like they might have finally broken in thanks to just a little bit of persistence on the side of Surge.
Yeah, the Dragon Strike comes in and picks up Autumn coming out of spawn on the Doomfist. There's just Buzz trying to get in, but it has been a brouhaha on the point favoring Surge, and they cap through with a pretty good time as well. Is that right, Phoenix?
Yeah, they did get sorted out a little bit on that first point, but once they managed to actually get in, thanks very much to that Diva Mech explosion taking down 3, they were able to just roll that momentum straight through, made it very hard for Twisted Vision to get set up in the same way. And it just utilized better ultimate economy at that situation to just keep on rolling through to the point. And now we have to see how Twisted Vision, they're going to come through for their attacking phase.
Be actually curious to see whether they do a mirrored strategy or not in their attacking phase on the side of Twisted Vision, because as we said, it is quite new in terms of some of the routes that you can use on the attack. One of them has been completely stifled, and one of them has been altered quite a bit as well. There is no way in on the lower decks on either side, aside from a couple of changed doors. And now, Twisted Vision, do you have the metal to match what you just had to put up against?
Base God standing in spawn on the Torbjorn, so he's collecting that metal, and that's gonna be.
May all be scrap, but it's still metal.
There you go. So no, he's swapped over to Zenyatta. Autumn is, funnily enough, standing on Torbjorn now in spawn. I guess he told Base God to get off it. He wanted to be having the fun in spawn collecting that scrap metal.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what they're going to go with. It looks like Base God's actually making some changes here, there, and everywhere. It looks like Autumn's actually going to go with the Sombra. So trying to get in behind, utilizing that invisibility, and get, as we saw with Surge's attack, try and just displace this static defense and make it very hard for them to set up. But already just the amount of bullets being thrown into that area makes it very hard for Autumn to safely make his way through there.
And then accidentally ran over the better mine, and that was it. They basically got exposed, and Autumn would be like, oh, I have to change my approach. That's exactly what he'll do. He's moved onto the lower deck and tried to pinch the upper defense of Surge Esports Club. He's, oh dear, look how behind he is. The GRTK has gone down, and Breezy actually took out Nope, so that could be a heavy hit to the defense, and Autumn's taken down the Orisa and the Mercy.
Oh, wow.
And this defense has been basically quashed and destroyed at the fingertips of Autumn and the shotguns of Breezy's mech. And that was as easy as you would have liked, Dreamboat.
Yeah, and I mean, really the big thing is I was worried because Autumn got the hack through onto the Orisa, got the early kill, but I thought the res was going to come in, and then Autumn was just going to be marginalized. Autumn actually did such a good job shredding that Mercy, trying to get that res off. That was 2 huge opening picks, and then Breezy just did all the rest. But now they're going to see if they can carry that momentum through here. Phoenix is jumping right forward. Monstrosity and GRTK, though, will get the first couple picks.
Yeah, but with this extra, well, it looks like Twisted Vision, they wanted to pull back just a little bit because they don't have the resurrection, so they have to wait for Nami to actually get back into the fight. Whereas on the other side, Fatebringer on the Mercy is going to be able to bring a member back, so not wanting to fight through the nail to try essentially a battle of attrition at that stage that they don't necessarily have the tools to work with, but coming into this next push, they have some good ultimates to work with self-destruct and EMP and also the coalescence. And now they're actually just going to go straight in and they just destroy Nope right off the bat. Has no way of keeping himself alive there. GLTK is going to be the next one to go down. The Brigitte not going to be able to help out. And with that third support going down, this looks like it is just going to be lights out here for the side of Surge, as we saw a very strong push coming out from Surge on their attack, but this is looking just as strong here for Twisted Vision here, Dreamboat.
And the hack will come in onto the Winston. And now the Dragon Blade coming out of core. There's an opportunity for them to actually slow this down. They're getting right in there. He hasn't managed to find much off of it, but he did manage to get the kill on the Nami. Fatebringer now on the defensive Mercy has fallen. They are still looking for some kills. GTK though on this Brigitte is doing a lot of work slowing them down, and the Genji's right up in their face. Corey getting two there, picking off a couple. That's going to slow things down, and that is going to be it for the push. They didn't even get a tick out of that, despite how much point presence they had.
Bit of a shame, really. They fought tooth and nail to even try to get close to a third, and it's a bit of a shame that they did not end up getting that far. But they do have the Coalescence and EMP on deck. But they won't have all that much else unless Breezy gets right up into the fight. There will be a self-destruct about at the halfway stage of this fight, should he choose to go any further. And there it goes. He's back in the thick and up on the high ground. They're starting to roll in now.
I fear for Nope. EMP and just a little bit of extra damage takes him down, but on the return swing, Koi is just shredding apart this offense. There's absolutely nothing that TV can do. It's a good start to the fight, taking down Nope, but after that, the rest of the team just don't have enough tools in the bank to even keep the fights going here, Dreamboat. And they are actually making switches, yeah.
Yeah, the EMP was a great start to that fight, but there wasn't just enough follow-up. And because of that, Autumn has actually swapped off, is on Hanzo now. They're actually running double sniper into this, the Hanzo and the Widow. See how this works out. I'm not entirely sure if I continue with that approach, or try that approach, I should say. We'll see how it works out here, because they are better than me, so we'll find out.
Having a little bit of a war of attrition up top. There goes the self-destruct from Monstrosity right in front of everyone. Doesn't get anyone. The mech actually got taken out. The pilot got taken out as well. But that may not mean much. Nope got the better of his adversary. Base God, Monstrosity gets his frag erased, his mech back, and that will be it. There was a lot more time, but as it stands in this current space, Surge will have a better time, but it's definitely not over for Twisted Vision, but they still have a lot at their disposal.
They're starting to try and move their way forward. They're eking in, trying to get the space. They're running this pharmacy combo now on Autumn. They realize that the Hanzo wasn't the right call, but it doesn't seem to matter. GRTK getting a nice headshot there, picking off the Pharah. I mean, we'll trade back on the GRTK. We'll see if the res comes in to bring Autumn back into this. No, he's swapping to Brigitte.
Just trading back and forth with their composition. They're very somewhat indecisive, trying to get the right composition necessary for this approach. They are getting a lot of early advantages thanks to Nami managing to take down some of their opposition, but it's just not enough. Buzz does manage to get the kill onto Koi, starting this off very nicely, and there we do have it. Nami again getting the kill onto a key target, taking down the Mercy, giving a little bit more space over to this attacking side. They do need to take down Nope, as Volante and just the rest of Surge are going to drop it. Here comes the counter engagement coming out from Koi, but it's not going to be enough. The Transcendence just completely stonewalls him out, as May is just going to be stalling this point out for as long as she can, but they are starting to lose members left, right, and center. But still, because of this delay, they have been able to deny at least a single tech, but they do finally get it. The Wrecking Ball does try and get their way onto the point, but they're just staggering one by one, and it looks like, Cyber, that they are going to be able to secure at least the majority of this point here.
Only delaying the inevitable. You see the full composition coming out now. You see the Tracer's hammers, everything to try and stall the point, bleed the clock. And there goes Volante on the Wrecking Ball. He will be wrecking no more. And there is going to be nothing but speed and nothing but walking in single file to try and play into the clock and make Kronos their friend. Name and Breezy are doing a lot of the heavy lifting Volante tries to contest for one last time, and that will prove to be fruitless. Name would be stroking his chin with glee after an effort like that, saying, "You couldn't have done it without me, could you?" He went off during those last phases there.
And the Brigida switch is actually one of the ones that was absolutely massive there for them, as it allowed them to get in. It was actually found, I think, 2 or 3 kills in that initial push. And because of that, that just left those players trying to funnel back in. And anytime you try and walk back into a point through a choke, past a Widowmaker, you tend to either be very low health by the end of it or dead. Especially when Nami is hitting the shots that he was. So it's a really good job there with the Brigida swap, reading that, you know what, this is probably what needs to happen. After a little bit of indecision, they got the right pick in the end, and that allowed them to cap it out. A little bit worse time, though, than their opposition. So they need to do very well here with a minute 10 seconds on their time.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to have a very good time for themselves, but because of the very solid point B defense coming out from Surge, they are going to be down an extra couple of minutes, so they have to get as much as they can out of this 1 minute and 10 that they have for their own attack, and then put up a stone wall, which, to be honest, considering how those first rounds ended up going, I could very well see Twisted Vision holding on this first point hit, Cyber.
It's essentially a one and done in the grand scheme of things, because they will only have 1 minute people to take when they actually engage, and the defense of Surge is definitely aware of this, given their current position itself, especially with the have a breakthrough, and they're ignoring it somehow and realizing they're trying all the way around and trying to break the defense by grabbing them all the way around. We'll have to see how this pans out, because if it fails, they might not even get another chance, Phoenix.
Yeah, they are just completely ignoring the static defense, and that's one of the things with these kind of setups on the defensive side of things. But Koi is actually starting to really make a bit of space for himself, getting several kills and making it hard for this attack to keep on going. But with several members on the point, it's forcing the defense to readjust their positioning, and it looks like with the kills still being traded back and forth, they are able to maintain control of the point. We do have GRTK coming on to the Tracer, but it's just not going to be enough. Do end up getting taken down, and with just a minute 10 on the clock, Twisted Vision are able to secure themselves this first point. But Dreamboat, will they be able to secure point B?
They have 22 seconds to get in. That is not a big window, but they're already on the point. Trying to delay what they can, trying to find any of these kills. They need the big opening pick as these ults are coming out here. And that is a huge one, taking out Fatebringer. However, the kills have gone back the other way. The defense have found the next pair. They need to start turning a few more of these. They will team X Diva, and that will clean it up as well. FaceGod doing all kinds of work right now. This Demora is absolutely popping off. They're trying to get this Mercy down as the next aim of this fight. But there's still so many players left alive on this point. Cleanup needs to come strong, and the Diva Bomb is coming down. Phoenix, it's gonna kill Autumn on the Doomfist. Down goes the Tracer as well. This is looking rough and looking dire.
Yeah, it's looking very scrappy from both sides, but because of the difference in spawn distance, it's looking like the reinforcements are just a little bit too strong for the defense and Surge. They are going to hold them out, but considering how much time they had to start that attack, I think Twisted Vision could be quite happy with that there, Saba.
Indeed, they got a lot more done with a lot less time compared to their previous attack, and they'd definitely be very happy with that. And 3 minutes and 25 to hold a defense, in my opinion, is actually quite doable, especially on this version.
That's about what they did on that first round, yeah.
Indeed, and I think that with a time like 3 minutes and 25, it's entirely doable to hold out to either get a win, or should they end up getting the point, the best they can hope for is a draw.
It is going to be interesting, but I'm interested to see whether or not Surge try and go with a similar attack as they did in the first round, going with Volante on that Wrecking Ball, try and displace a static defense. In the first round, it didn't work out all that well. It took a real hero play out of the Diva from Monstrosity, getting 3 members with the Mech Explosion to really open up that defense. I'm not sure they'll get as lucky this time here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, it's tough call. You know, some hero plays can come out. but that's really what we're gonna need to see. 3 minutes 25. It's a lot of time to work with, considering what was accomplished with such little time. Curious, but we are starting to come in. The Cyberways are starting to inch forward. They have the comp they want. That does include Volante on the Hammond. The Wrecking Ball, as they are starting to move in.
They just trying to take advantage of the extra time they do have. They do have a give or take with a little bit of rounding. They have triple the time of Twisted Vision, who are now on the defensive bid, pushed back ever so slightly. Looks like it's gone to the lower level of the Wizard, and this entire fight is going onto the point. This war of attrition that we have going on is going to continue for a little while longer, Phoenix.
Yeah, they are trying to make their way towards the point, but this defense, they're giving up space, but they're not giving up the entire point, as Name does manage to get a kill onto Nope, so that's the support down. To try and get a resurrection onto that if they want to have all members here for this attack, but they are pulling back. Surge understanding that they do have time at their in their pocket. They have an extra 2 minutes, so they don't have to rush things here, Dreamboat.
Well, they're starting to try and inch forward again, but Nami doing a great job. D-Mex, the Diva, Breezy's picked up Fatebringer, the Mercy, and now Bus is super deep right now, trying to find some of these kills. GTK though, that's a nice opener on Nami.
Bus went deep. It actually paid off okay for him because he ended up retreating, but he will need a healer sometime soon, and there they are. So normality is restored. We're running into 1 minute and 35. And Phoenix, do you think that the side of Surge are running out of options, or do you think their best attack could be this one or the next?
Well, if they want to have one very slow approach, as they have been doing so far this round, they'll probably get one good approach left, as we do have ultimates on both sides ready to come out. Koi looking to be the big player here as he comes in with that Dragon Blade. He's trying to get stuff to happen, does manage to take down Order, but with the Transcendence, they're not going to be able to get much more than that. Koi actually does manage to take down Nor. Nami takes down GRTK, who does have a very good line onto that point, but the members of the defense, Twisted Vision, are starting to lose steam, as some of the positional plays from Surge is just a little bit too good, and the control of space is just a little bit too tough to deal with, and that is going to be at point A captured here for Surge here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, now one tick on point B is all that they need to find. The ult is slowly coming up here on Koi. He's already up to 80% on getting another Dragon Blade, but there are quite a few tools for the defense to use to try and delay it. It's 55 seconds, so this has become absolutely doable right now for Twisted Vision. It just comes down to execution, Phoenix.
Yeah, they do try and make an approach. Nami does get taken down, who, after so many kills, GRTK finally manages to get the return as another Dragon Blade comes out. Autumn is going to be the first one to go down, makes to take down Base God as well. Really starting this fight off massively for the side of Surge. Resurrection does come through, so they will have all members here for this point, and now comes the scramble defense from Twisted Vision, but the kills are starting to go to the way of the blue team. Bars managed to pick up a couple on the point, and it looks like we're just a little bit of extra time left on the clock. They have to rush to get towards this point, or it's going to be a draw here, Cyber.
Yeah, and they've already made the changes necessary to roll out with blazing speed. They're running down to 5 seconds. Will they be able to touch the point for SOT? And yes, it is. The mines managed to come out, but Volante too, and the self-destruct has been on deck and has taken Nope out of the fight. They have bought extra time, have the red side of Surge, but it might not be enough. Bus is right on top of Volante. Autumn has ejected Monstrosity from his mech, and he's fighting valiantly with the Body Blaster, but over time will slowly evaporate. And that is a draw for Horizon Lunar Colony.
And you know, one of the really low-key kind of things that, which is kind of not special, just kind of handy for the defense, was the fact that that Diva mech went out. Sure, it picked the Lucio, but it also completely erased the entirety of the Hammond ult by destroying all of the mines, but then them being on the ground for a second. I don't know whether they intended for those mines to be if they had a plan for them or they just kind of laid them down to see if they could get some kills with them. But yeah, it was just kind of poetic to see them come down. Like, can't go here. Oh yeah, we can. Guess what? We have a Diva Bomb.
Yeah, it looked like the controller space was going to be in there for Surge. If they had to walk into all of those mines, it would have been very hard for Twisted Vision to stay healthy and contest the point. But as you mentioned, the Diva explosion just completely clearing that allowed Twisted Vision to make their way back onto the point, contest, and it looked like it was a good start to that approach for Surge, managing to get some of those early kills. But as we saw in the previous maps, Twisted Vision, when it comes down to those scrappy fights, they're able to pull it out when it really counts here, Cyber.
Indeed. And with that result of a draw, the losing team of the previous map will get the choice of side. And Surge have gone with the classic, we are going to King's Row. And another map which is basically as old as time, but is still going through a little bit of a change in terms of meta and approaches with the new heroes and new mobility options for certain heroes.
Yeah, as we've seen in this in the previous map on Horizon Lunar Colony, the Hammond does come in from time to time, is very good at displacing a lot of those static defenses, forcing them to react in potentially disadvantageous ways, but TV weren't able to deal with that quite well. I'm interested to see if Surge are going to try and bring it out in this one for King's Row, because quite often you do see a lot of static defenses for this first point here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, definitely a lot of static defense. Whether we'll see that come out here, whether we'll see the stone wall, you know, they might be parking the bus. Well, no, they're not going to be. Bus looks to be. Well, maybe.
But they do have a bus.
They do have a bus. It's just to decide if they park it.
It's parked in the middle of the road. I don't think that's legal.
Yeah, it's a very weird street, to be quite honest. It's like little area. It's like, how are you supposed to navigate that with a lot of cars?
It's crooked. It's way out of the curb. That's really dangerous. The cyclist could get cleared.
You can only like really support like Vespers around this little area. Why did they have a full bus there?
Who knows? Maybe maybe it's Omnic law now, since the Omnics actually took charge at King's Row. It could be the way that they do things, that they just don't like Vespers.
Anyway, speaking of buses,
who knows?
Bus on the defense with his Reinhardt. He is going to be trying to set up a wall, for which he's apparently 2 snipers are going to be coming through, and Nami on this Widow. We saw him come in starting on the second map, and Dreamboat, he's been putting up so much work with his Widow here.
Yeah, it's been really difficult for Surge to deal with, and I'm curious to see if he can keep up his form, because one of the big things that kind of drew into him on Horizon Lunar Colony is he was perfect when he was set up and they were coming through a choke point right through spawn. This map has a lot of choke points that they'll be walking right through into him, but they'll have the shields to deal with them. So I'm curious to see if he'll have just as big impact as we are live into our 4th map of this series. They're right up on this point, just trying to brawl it out, start a little bit of a brouhaha. Gonna be the Brigitte leading the charge with the Reinhardt, getting right up in their faces. A bus is jumping through, and Nami! Oh my lord, that's a 3K! GRTK Fatebringer are both down, as is Volante, and that is gonna stunt the push. Wow!
Oh, nothing says stop trying to approach the point than a Widow just taking 3 heads in as many shots, and oh, that's a perfect time to talk up a player like Nami and then have him do something like that. That is just, poetry in motion here, Cyber.
Indeed, that's how you basically keep a team at an arm's reach. Do not step into the sightline or I will remove your head and use it as a trophy. That's exactly what Name's been doing all night since he got tagged in. And there goes Fatebringer again, so one of the supports has been taken out of commission for Surge, and they might actually start to be in hysterics after this. They're going to have to figure out how to deal with Name, and they will have to figure out how to do it quick, Dreamboat.
My lord, he is hitting everything in sight. Hitting all of these big fat shots. That's, it's tough because when you have a red hot Widow, if you're not dealing with it properly, your team is getting shredded. And the problem is the shield keeps moving past the Widow, and that just gives an open sight line for him. We do have the Dragons coming in onto this point, trying to do a lot of damage. Autumn, in fact, will fall to Monstrosity, but the Graviton's coming in. They don't clean up on it. All of these kills are going for the offense. There is still Nami on the Widow, but that's the only person there. And I think he should not be able to win this point out.
Felt like it's taken down, but yeah, as soon as that fight started to fall out of favor for the defense, Twisted Vision were just not able to hold on. Nami did very well on that first point, but when the rest of the team were not able to really follow up when it came to Surge moving their way onto the point, very hard for the Widow to just solo carry that fight, even though she was able to do it before, but one fight too many for them to deal with. But now we are getting dragon strikes from both sides. They're just intertwining as Earthshatter gets blocked, and we are starting to see this defense really set up a great Earthshatter here out of Bus, and they're able to lock down the rest of this attack. And Cyber, this could become one of those situations where this defense can really set up in this choke point.
Definitely, they can really dig their teeth in, especially given where the payload has landed, just past the arch on first point. So that will make things a lot more difficult for the side of Surge to try and break down this wall. GRTK will tell his troops to rally, and Volante sadly got shredded by Autumn, so that's one big juicy tag taken out of commission, but Fatebringer will use her res and bring him back into the fight. So this will basically be a tug of war for the time being, while the payload makes a little bit of progress.
Yeah, the Transcendence does come out to completely deny that Graviton, and throughout all that, GRTK does go down. Earthshatter drop, but doesn't get anything out of it, and the return Graviton, they're going to be able to capitalize on that incredibly well. They take down Volante, they take down Monstrosity, and yet again, Dreamboat, this defense holds strong.
Yeah, they're doing such a good job. They've just kind of hopped on the magic Earthshatter bus and are just letting him set up for them. They're cleaning up so well, and they're just working as an absolute unit right now.
Get it? It's the Earthshatter bus because it's Bus playing Reinhardt.
Ah, yay. Speaking of which, he does have the Earthshatter at the ready, and he will perhaps force Surge to get on the party bus as soon as one of the shields gets broken or goes down. There goes the Transcendence from Nope to keep everybody up. He did it like Macho Man did Bus. He's taken the legs out of 3 of them. Nami and Autumn have cleaned up the scraps, and Bus put the shoulder right to Volante and sent him to the bench. GRTK, Nope, and Fatebringer would shortly follow, and we've just broken the 2-minute mark. And Twisted Vision, like we alluded to earlier, they've really dug their heels in, and Surge have a lot to figure out with dwindling time.
Yeah, that Dragon Blade or Dragon Strike just trailing through at the end. But thought that might have been a call for Koi to switch over to something else, but he's still going with that.
That
Hanzo,
could cost them in the end, Phoenix.
Yeah, actually there it is. There's a switch over. I figured by throwing out that Dragon Strike at that situation, it was a bit of a throwaway at that stage, but now very, very fast approach here, but Bus makes it to clean up Fatebringer, and they don't have a resurrection. Alright, Autumn just cleans up. Nami gets in on the action as well, and it was a rough and tumble kind of approach, but it's just going to get shut down completely here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, a lot of this work is coming in from Autumn on the Hanzo. Haven't really talked too much about him, but he found so many kills in so many situations. And the fun part is he's throwing an arrow around the corner, like someone will walk into it, and Nami will like immediately go for the headshot, but they'll already be dead because Autumn cleaned up first. It's entertaining to watch.
And they are actually running out of lives. Autumn will get everybody who's grabbed up top. And thank goodness everything got nullified there, or it could have been dire. Everybody's backed up and dropped down to the street. The sides have essentially switched. The defensive Twisted Vision are at the arch, and now Surge are right on top of the payload. It's going to be a full-blown scrappy fight, Phoenix. We could be counting down to the final seconds.
Yeah, and Nor actually gets taken down. A great Earthshatter from Volante, and this is going to be the fight going over to the side of Surge. Great wraparound, and Really clutch play coming out of Koi to deny that Dragon Strike coming straight through that Graviton, or this would have been shot down much sooner. But now we're coming to the situation where they have to stick to the payload like glue, and they have to get essentially as much as they possibly can here, Dreamboat, with 0 time left.
Yeah, it seems like the defensive side is the sunny side of the street. Every team that's been on that side won a fight in that corridor. Just so happened that all they needed to do was swap sides for them to win the offense. We did have the D.Va mech coming in here. It's actually gonna find the Mercy. I didn't think it was gonna get nor there. Bus manages to clean up Koi before he can re-mech himself. But now these ults are coming out there so close to the second point. They're starting to find some of these kills. The Fair is in here on Autumn doing a lot of work. Bubbled to keep alive by the Zarya, and that's giving Breezy charge.
Oh, wow.
And now they're finding some of these kills. This defense might actually hold. They're bending, but will they break? Base God finding the Lucio. One coming in, and they will hold it out.
How do they do it? These scrappy last-ditch effort fights from TV, and they managed to bring it out. They had no business coming back into that fight. They were losing members. They even lost their Mercy at the very start of that fight. But still, Autumn managing to take to the skies, and with the assistance of Monstrosity on the... or not Monstrosity, but the assistance of Breezy on the Zarya, able to keep him alive, able to output the damage, and... Cyber TV, they just keep on managing to claw their way through.
Indeed. Perhaps that is part of their vision. A giant monster with claws and unpredictable tendencies. Because that's exactly how their team seems to play it. I'm really becoming a fan of it. And goodness me, the fact that they ended up pulling out a defense just short of the Foundry. They'll have to win through the first point and pretty much second to get a 3-0 scoreline in the series. But if Name can break the defense just like he broke the attack in the early stanzas, it's entirely doable, Dreamboat.
Doable, yes. Will this be easy? That is the next question. First of all, they do have Koi on that Widow as defense, and if he can, if he can do anything that Name can do, he feels it, he's feeling that anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. So we'll see if Koi can bring it to the level that Nami did. We'll see if that'll work out. I like the kind of setup they have here. They're running the Orisa shield. He's playing with a little puppy right now, which I can always appreciate, because puppies are cute. But it's not cute. Murder. And we're about to see some murder in the streets of Kings Row here as we are live into the second half of this map. The offense is coming in here. That is Twisted Vision in blue, Surge in red, and Phoenix. What do you see?
The static defense of Surge is set up, and they also have Koi much further back, trying to control a lot of those sidelines. JTK gets the first kill onto Noah. That's going to be a great start to this, but Name gets Koi, as Name, even though they're not on the Widow, able to take down heads with a sniper. The resurrection does come through, but it looks like the positional play has already been made, as a great charge as Volante is going to get slammed into the wall by a big bus. And they're trying to get their way onto the point. There's defense to stall out for as long as possible, but it looks like there's just too many members here as Buzz yet again manages to pick someone up. GTK gets cleaned up with a fire strike, but the rest of the team is starting to fall down. And with how squishy the rest of the team, he is here for the Twisted Vision. But they're going to have to be a little bit more cautious with his approach here.
Breezy has actually pulled out the hold hog, got hooked in by Breezy. He did get the eject on the Monstrosity, but that would be all he'll be able to muster. And that would be the call to arms for Twisted Vision to retreat and rethink their plan of attack. But they will have a couple of good resources to move forward with. They do have the Dragon Blade and the Dragon Strike, and Shimano Brothers will be able to make some beautiful murderous music should they so desire. But Bus is being an absolute brute, just living up to his namesake and just punishing the side of Surge for not checking both sides before crossing the street. And then we get into another skirmish that is on the point. The Dragon Strike does come out and try to part the seas, but doesn't claim a victim. But Autumn is trying to have another say.
Oh, big shatter there from Bus is gonna demech the D.Va. Not quite what they were looking for to get off of that, but it still is a nice pick. Still trying to work forward, see if they can grab any more space. See if they can't grind out this point, but they do have to worry about Koi on the Widow up above. Breezy, though, he's going to find the mini diva. Koi getting taken up by Nami again. Breezy with the second kill. They're still just trying to clean up. Ferocity, he gets rezzed, he gets cleaned up. That's what feels bad, man. But Nami getting a 2K with the five arrow burst, picking off the Junkrat and the Roadhog. And now they have rolled through. The cart is coming out, and they've moved very aggressively up to this corner in the streets. Bus trying to block them off. He's parked, blocking the line. He's actually going to find Volante as Autumn also picks off Koi. They are all the way up, camping where they need to push to. This is very aggressive right now from Twisted Vision, but that just means that this payload is going to be moving soundly and easily through the streets.
Yeah, just not wanting to get caught up, much like Surge was when they were attacking, trying to, as you mentioned, give free reign for this payload to make its way through the streets. They won't be able to completely shut out this defense by the time they get to where it's really needed to be, but they do get a lot of free progress for themselves, and now we have to see how this defense comes through. Volante stepping forward on the Reinhardt with a nice flank coming in from Autumn, but the Earth Shatter gets completely denied again by Bus. Really nicely done there, and look at the ultimate belt that we have for this attacking side. Here comes the combo, and there goes one. They do manage to take down Volante again. Here comes the blade as well. They are just taking members left, right, and center, and it looks like Twisted Vision, they've done it. They are going to clean up this round, clean up this map, and clean up this series here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, very strong showing, not just here, but in all 4 of our maps, taking the series 3-0-1. They did have that draw, of course, on Horizon Lunar Colony. And speaking of Horizon Lunar Colony, Phoenix, that was also what Moth Black were playing Paradigm Shift on. There was a pause, and unfortunately that map came in with a DC. They couldn't reconnect, and that led to it being 2-1 for Moth. They're heading into the 4th and final map. But on this 4th and final map, Cyber Waste, we had a hell of a game.
Oh man, did we ever? And who would you attribute a lot of that to? You'd say a combined effort, and Name and Bus being a pair of heavy hitters. Bus at the front of the tech line, and Name just cleaning up in terms of damage and making Surge basically run scared for the entire run.
Yeah, it was very hard for Surge to make any safe approaches with Name just cleaning heads left, right, and center. And Bus also have to give a lot of credit to the support cast for Twisted Vision, allowing Bus to step forward like that. Because a lot of the times you will see a Reinhardt step forward, try and start swinging around, but get taken down immediately. But with the support of Twisted Vision really helping him stick around, he was able to get a lot of that extra value and really give Name the space to clean up left, right, and center here.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of guys that we didn't really talk about as well is just Autumn doing such a consistent job of putting in damage, fighting for his team. And Breezy across, I think, all 4 maps with his tank play on either Diva or Zarya really impressed me. He did a lot of work, Horizon Lunar Colony. Some of those pushes came down to just the amount of work that Breezy did. He was a good, strong player through this entire series. But it was a very nice kind of showing overall by Twisted Vision. And I mean, really, in a 4-map series, when you win 3 of them and draw the 4th, you're expecting to have a pretty good team play across the board.
Yeah, it was definitely on display, and dare I say it, Twisted Vision were in the driver's seat from start to finish. It was up to Surge to catch up, and they didn't quite get all of it. So Twisted Vision making a good impression to open with a 3-0-1 draw scoreline.
Yeah, and that's and if that's the way we kick off this whole event, the Rise Up Invitational, I'm very excited to see how these teams go moving forward. Twisted Vision looking really strong. Surge had some moments of brilliance. We had Koi on that Genji really opening up a lot of those team fights, but they just weren't able to string them together when it was really necessary or when it was really needed to secure objectives. But they still have some time to go in this event to really shorten up some of those deficiencies that they was showing here and there throughout this series. But Dreamboat, both teams really put up a good show.
Yeah, and it was a really good start as well because this is, of course, the first match of day one of the Rise Up Invitational. It's the very beginning. It's the beginning of it all. And, well, with that, we do have another game coming at you, coming down this tube in just a little bit of time. Cyber Waste, do we not? Should be at 8:30, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, and we will see PIXL and Exto Gaming going at it, and we will introduce you to those two teams very, very shortly when they file into the server and show us their metal, and I cannot wait to see that. You're watching the opening night of the Rise Up Invitational. I have been Cyber Waste. I have been joined by GL Phoenix and Dreamboat. And we'll take a moment to digest that. And if you have anything to add, gentlemen, go right ahead.
I believe we're good.
We are just waiting for a few of the stragglers to show up in this server. We've got just 2 empty slots, one for Exto, one for PIXL. So we will definitely make sure, Cyberwaste, to shame the 2 stragglers. Looks like one is Prowler. And I mean, how dare he straggle into our server?
Dreamboat, it's his first night. Give him a bit of leeway. He's nervous. He's got stage fright.
Just start
But
roasting people left, right, and center.
Speaking of people that are in the server, we will run you down your lineups. That seems like a good enough segue as any. On the side of PIXL Esports, we have Kamskis, Duboy, Aki, the aforementioned Prowler, Virginia, and Bad. And there are a couple of subs. We'll see if they find use for them. And the 6-person roster of Exto Gaming, we have Phil, Jasper Jam, 2D Socks, which is an amazing name, by the way, Tub, Sham, and Phils.
Yeah, some rather straightforward names, to be honest, which, to be honest, while casting them is actually going to be much easier to say rather than some of the weird names that we've had in the past. So, yeah, thank you, players who actually use rather simple names when it comes to playing professionally. So, yeah, it's much easier to say Sham or Phil than some of the other weird and wild stuff that we've had in the past, Rainbow.
And especially, it's not like this is like hockey or baseball where it's guys using their last names. No, it's aliases. So while in hockey, there's a guy whose name is Dustin Bufflin. It's spelt by Fuglian. It's tough to pronounce, but that's not his choice, right? Like, that's his last name. You don't pick your last name. It's what you get. You get what you're given. But your alias you can pick. So God bless all the people, guys like 2D Socks, guys like Phil, that picked just an easy name for us to pronounce.
Perhaps there could be a subliminal message in that name of Phil's, or is it a name backwards? You play it backwards and there's a hidden subliminal message in there.
I don't think it's that deep.
It's
just easy to get Phil.
Fair enough. But we are waiting for everybody to make the ready call, and yes, we are going to the neon lights and beautiful moon night sky of Lijiang Tower, and I'm really expecting both of these teams to really bare their fangs and come out swinging, because this is the game mode where they will have the most neutral, I feel, of contests. And it'll be up to both of these sides to prove the battle. And we go to night market, speaking of bright lights, big cities, and hopefully big frags coming our way.
Absolutely, CeeLo Cyberwaste. This is the one that we missed too. It only went 2 of the 3 segments in our first series. We missed out on this beautiful one. But we're here now. We're here together. It's Dreamboat, it's Cyberwaste, it's Phoenix. It is the Rise Up Invitational, and this is Twisted Vision versus Surge.
No, it is not. That was the previous matchup.
That was the previous.
Yeah, you're right.
I was like, are you memeing me right now?
I am memeing. That was an intentional meme. No,
for those that are wondering,
I had the overlay open for the. Wow! So are you trying to say that just because I'm Canadian that I just make?
I'd say time zone's played a factor, and it's taking a while to catch up. It's okay.
Right. Well, it's
okay.
Exto versus PIXL. I happened to do the thing where I closed one page and I had the other page open that still had the old game name on it. So I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like that. Just a reminder for me. That's what it was, and it threw me off. But it doesn't throw me. The fact that we're live. We are in this, we are here, we are partying, and we are hopefully going to see some fragging out as Duboy gets the opening pick onto Phil. There's a quick trade back, Sham grabbing Aki, that's the Zenyatta down, but it looks like team in blue are going to be the one getting all of these kills at the early start here.
Yeah, PIXL able to get the aerial superiority thanks to having the Pharah and not really much to contest it on the other side. They do actually switch over. Jasper Jam going to be going on to the Widow to try and contest the air, or at least take care of the Widow up high, but already just losing out on some of the positioning on the point, and with Virginia going to be on this Wrecking Ball, going to try and disrupt a lot of this approach, but with the dive coming through straight to the back line, they're not able to get too much as Phil's trying to dash in with the Genji, but doesn't get anything. Virginia takes down Shem, Duboy takes down Jasper Jam, and already this has been an incredibly solid start to this round here from PIXL here, Cyber.
Indeed, you could basically say Virginia has been rolling right through the side of Exto, just making the Hammond work, given he is still really new and still coming to fruition. We've seen a lot of good things that Virginia's right underneath and using the camera tricks to perhaps give a little bit of intel to the PIXL teammates as to what is about to come. We're running into 50% and 2D's subs is for extremely low and didn't quite get all of it. So now Exo is on the back foot and it's going to be a lot more harder with Duboy raining rockets down from the skies. 3 and the ejection and sending the Diva back to the bench. You're going to have to do a little bit more thinking, Exo, because you just got dominated by the Rocket Queen, Dreamboat.
Duboy getting 3 with that barrage, D-macking the Diva and picking up a 4th one before the barrage came in. That is absolutely massive play from him. And now we'll need to see if Phil can kind of match that as Exto are being zoned out very heavily right now. Duboy will fall. And now Valkyrie's coming out here, but Kamsky's in Virginia have come in with a couple quick kills. Jasper Jam on the Widow's trying to chime in, but Kamsky's is still doing a lot of work on the Sombra right now.
And they do have to get to the point, so they have to give up some of that positioning as Phil just managed to take down the Wrecking Ball, but they're trading back and forth. Shem ends up taking his own life as Duboy takes down Jasper Jam. There's going to be kills back and forth yet again, but it looks like the point is still in favor of the blue team PIXL. All they need to do is control the point for just that little bit longer. They don't have the aerial superiority anymore as the Pharaoh does go down, as it looks like the mines are going to come through and they are going to just start shredding through the opposing side, trying to get their way towards this point, and we can see how much damage it's doing and how hard it is for this attack to try and make their way towards the point. Virginia doing so much work on the Wrecking Ball here, just cleaning up the entirety of this red lineup.
Virginia, MVP as well. I'd say it's time between Virginia and the fellow Farah on the side of PIXL. That was a masterclass. A full-blown shutout there for PIXL on the night market, and we move along to the garden. And well, Dreamboat, those pixels are far from dead. They have come alive, and they are in living color. And well, Exo are blinded to that.
And just quickly, while we are waiting for this second segment to go live, I'm gonna just talk quickly about the other game. Our first game, or the other game that was on while we were casting the first game of the night, that was Moth Black versus Paradigm Shift. They win Eichenwald. They close out the series 3-1, and that is how that one has ended. But we are back here, of course. Phoenix getting into the action. This Winston's going deep, getting right in their faces. But it's going to be Duboy picking up the Lucio with the first kill.
Yeah, there's not going to be the pharmacies for either of these teams wanting to just go get down and dirty with the brawling, but it looks like the red team, they're starting to get some of the kills for themselves, and they are going to start utilizing this man advantage to try and take more advantage in this fight. But Kamsky's on this soldier is actually doing a decent amount of work from long range and cleans up several members, and it looks like after just a bunch of trading back and forward, it looks like it is going to be PIXL ending up securing that fight, with Kamsky's really going off in this first fight here, Cyber.
And then the point will flip in favor of PIXL, and Kamsky's and Prowler, in my opinion, played a large part in that. So that will give PIXL the chance to be in the driver's seat and force Exto to play catch up. Phil's trying to get into the back line, trying to isolate Prowler and the rest of his comrades, but bad at Kamsky's are having none of that. And that's basically just forced the side of Exto into a reset to recoil and try again. They do have a couple of good ultimates on deck, Dreamboat, though.
Yeah, they have a few tools in their pocket to try and break through. Sham getting in could cause a lot of punching on the point with the Primal Rage. They've already got the Tracer going in behind him. There's also the Sombra, so both of those guys are lurking around the back lines of this point right now. See how they elect to capitalize off of it, though. There comes the Hackett, but it's gonna be Duboy still finding the kill onto the Tracer. Blizz has gotten a couple quick ones though. Primal Rage is in here trying to knock people off this point. As Attack Visor is coming out, a lot of ultis are being used, but the kills seem to be going the way of Exto Gaming. Sham will pick off bad. Let's leave it down. They're still trying to hang on to this point though. Will they be able to do so? It doesn't look like it. West Virginia with this Primal Rage, he's already picked up the Sombra. He's looking for some more. Swinging those fists around, but not able to find anything here, Phoenix.
Yeah, they're trying to stick around at the point. Ultimates are being dropped left, right, and center, trying to get their way back onto the point. The sound barrier does get dropped, but there's not really a hell of a lot left on the point for PIXL. They are starting to drop members. Prowler does manage to bop 2D Socks straight off the stage, but it's probably not going to be enough. There's only Duboy on the point, but because of the amount of delay on the point, it's up to 95% here for PIXL. And Cyber, all it needs is one solid fight for them.
Indeed, they do have the time to play with too, because Exto is starting from scratch. They've only just accrued 10%, and if I were PIXL, just bide your time, and you don't need to commit everything straight away. And Sham is jumping right on top of Virginia, and Prowler is right at the back of it as well, but Aki will get the better of Tub, and Sham will make Virginia ride the lightning. It's very to and fro at the moment, and Kevski's making a good go of it, as a matter of fact. This could actually be a tip if things plan out the way that they want.
Boy, though, he's doing so much work on this Brigida, slowing them down, picking off Sham. Tub will get the boop on his Survival Lucio, knock him down into the pit. Now it looks like they are going to be able to recap this. They're 5% away. Someone needs to step on this point. They need to get close. No one is even there. Overtime has come in, and the D.Va gets there just in the nick of time. Fight's coming in. D.Va's being demexed. The Transcendence wasn't able to save it in time. And these kills still coming through. Blizz taken out. Sham going down as well. And it looks like we will have this segment fall through. There's just a Lucio trying to stay alive. They're trying to find him, trying to clean him up. He is buying so much time. These spawns might actually come in. He's finally cleaned up. And in fact, the Tracer's gotten there. That's all that will get there, though, as it closes out PIXL Esports, taking map 1.
Yeah, really nicely done there from PIXL. It was so close. It looked like the Red Team were able to secure themselves a defense, but PIXL just a little bit too strong, and we saw Kamski's on that soldier really dictating a lot of those fights and getting a lot of damage done. And it was just a little bit too much for them to deal with in the end. Once that point got flipped back at 95%, it was very hard for the Red Team for Exto to really make a clean approach to the point. They were having to struggle, and we saw how staggered a lot of those approaches were, and PIXL were able to deal with that quite efficiently.
Indeed, and especially on the opening point, in my opinion, just Duboy on the Farah just running roughshod the entire Exo roster. You saw that play of the game there. He just single-handedly stifled the entire attack of Exo Gaming on Night Market. That just forced them to reconsider. And speaking of changing of scenery, we go from neon lights to blue skies. The side of Exo Gaming have made their choice, given that they are the losing side. They're going to choose Rialto as our second map.
Yeah, it's going to be, as you mentioned, a change of scenery. It is the newest map in the pool, and despite it being still quite a new map, we're starting to see some of the more standard setups for offense and defense, but there's still a lot of room for experimentation, and especially when we do have new heroes getting thrown in and a lot of changes as well. It's always an evolving meta, and especially on a map like Rialto where it is so new. Dreamboat, we're starting to see some adjustments here and there.
Yeah, and it's tough because, you know, some of these teams, they may not have put the amount of time that they might have liked into this map because it is so new. So it'll be interesting to see how prepared in the varying levels of preparedness that we'll see. Well, whether we'll see teams just completely stalled out in that even very first choke point, or whether this is just going to be very fast times because their defenses aren't quite where they want them to be. Be very interesting to see.
Indeed. It's one of the most interesting parts in any game when something new is introduced, whether it be a hero, a map, or even when a hero gets reworked or a character gets reworked from pretty much the ground up. The tools change, the meta changes, and just watching it all sort of evolve into its own being is really a curiosity and a beautiful thing to watch as we get into the first Rialto on stream for the Rise Up Invitational, and it's a beautiful map to look at. Perhaps Exto can hold up a defense that would warrant the type of beauty.
Yeah, and it looks like from the setup that they have so far, they want to be setting up a static defense with a lot of long sightlines to allow the Hanzo and the Widow to really make the most of. I have to see how the approach is going to come in from this attacking side, because something we've seen from Rialto early on, a lot of these high ground defenses, but sometimes the attack can just push the cart past it, and the defense is like, well, there's not really much to defend up here anymore, so how are we supposed to readjust? Interested to see how quickly they will adjust, considering that kind of possibility here.
Well, you know, I am a diehard Star Wars fan, and if there was one lesson I took away, it was from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Always have the high ground, because it's over when you have it. And they have taken the high ground right now. We'll see if this will be the quick stop that they need. But they're actually very quickly forced off of it. I guess high ground is more important in a lightsaber duel than it is in a game of Overwatch, as this defense has been forced back very quickly. A lot of good space has been picked up. They're continuing to move forward.
Yeah, and the defense...
Full-blown skirmish onto the point, and the Bionade actually dropped onto Phil as that forced him to retreat. And this basically war of attrition, the halt actually came in, and that halt was so gravitationally sound, it pulled a member clean off of the server. Prowler has left for the time being, and we will wait and see as to what will happen. In the meantime, we do have another matchup that is on the cards for tonight. Aside from the one that is streamed, we do have Dignity and Cascade, and the scorelines for that we will update as soon as the information comes to hand. They start on the same map that we just saw on stream. They will start on Lijiang Tower, and we will give you that info as soon as it comes. So, Dreamboat Phoenix, what do you think thus far? It's basically just two battering rams just trying to get the upper hand, and it looked like the attack was just starting to get their groove until they lost a player.
Yeah, losing Prowler is never gonna be a good thing, dropping a player when you're trying to push in. It can kill absolutely all momentum. So I'd look as soon as this unpause comes in for there to be a good hold. Oh my goodness. Never. Kamskis is down too. Can we get some newscast going here? Do we have like Australian internet outages from like one of your service providers or something?
Australia is just bad in general, so yeah, it's always it's hard to find a full tournament or event where there is no technical issues, but we should be able to get the players back in as soon as possible. But yeah, just looking at this defense so far coming out of Exto, they wanted to get set up with this static defense with the Orisa, but so far just hasn't really been able to set their feet so far, and it's allowed a lot of extra space over to PIXL, which they have a lot of well, I guess I can say they had a lot of momentum, but considering how two players did end up having some disconnections, it is going to throw a spanner into a lot of that forward momentum. But so it's they still have a decent position to keep on pushing.
Indeed, but there are a couple of big things to note. One of these supports got taken out of the fray and is now reconnected, but back in spawn and with no ult charge, so that could be a plague factor. The countdown is on, and we are back into the fray.
Right back in here, right up on the cart, and the problem is, without that Lucio, they've got to do a lot of work trying not to take a lot of damage, but Jasper Jam on the Widow has done a lot of work. He takes out the Ana, he's demexed the Diva. Bad doing what he can on the Zarya, but Jasper Jam is just picking heads right now, cleaning them up. The cart is still going to be moving forward now. Lucio and Soldier 76, the two disconnected players, have returned. might actually be able to get it all the way through to this. The dragon coming in. Not gonna be able to find that though. This card is still so very close to this first point, but the kills are going the way of the defense, Phoenix.
Yeah, they are able to clean up the remaining members, and it seemed as though that Forward Momentum was going to keep on making its, well, keep on allowing them to push the way all the way to the end of that first checkpoint, but it's just not going to be enough. The extra DPS coming out from the defense was enough to force them away, and it's going to have to give them another chance at making their way towards the point. But now that they've set up this Widow, the Jesper Jam is going to utilize these long sightlines and try and punish them for running down those sightlines. As here comes the Shadow, doesn't really get too much, knocks one down on the ground, but the Transcendence is going to deny a lot of the damage. But here comes a Self-Destruct, takes down 2 on the defenders, and that is going to allow them a lot more space to work with. It's just the 2 front lines. The Resurrection does come in as they bring Phil back up, and Earth Shatter on the return swing. So Dubois is getting dropped down. Nano Boost has been popped onto Bad, so the Zarya is going to be zapping left, right, and center, but Cyberwaste's defense is holding strong here.
Holding right onto the arch, despite that Zarya sounding like a very large horde of angry bees. Extra Gaming is holding strong for now, but that will be it. And Phil will be actually sent into the drink according to his Ragdoll, and Kevski's Prowler will make sure the rest of Exto are sent back into line, and that will be the first point falling to PIXL, and this payload dreamboat will keep on rolling.
It is just sailing away, rolling through. Now this defense is starting to start to move up, try and position themselves so that they can cut it off, but also not overextend into it and feed. It's a healthy balance, and it looks like they've done a good job getting it here at the corner. They have a couple players up top as well. But the Graviton is coming in. They need to find these kills, and they will. This offense doing a great job cleaning up both the Ryan and the Zarya. That's 2 tanks down. Phil on the Hanzo just gonna go feed, and Jesper Dam just trying to do what he can, but you know, just giving their lives away so they can spawn with the rest of their team.
Yeah, once that front line was taken down, it's much easier for this offense to just keep on rolling through. Jesper Dam and Phil just essentially throwing their lives away. As I mentioned, just wanting to respawn with the rest of the team so they can have a more conjoint defense. As Virginia trying to get a good line, it gets a good Earth Shatter, sends 4 to the floor. The defensive Dragon Strike is coming through, but they're not able to get too much out of it. Virginia is just slamming left, right, and center. Shem, likewise, is going to be taking care of a couple of members, but it's not going to be enough as Virginia just cleans up the entire fight.
Cleaned up with the almighty hammer, and he took them all the way home. The second point will fall to PIXL. They have a really good time, and this momentum, if it keeps going this way, and Exto aren't able to really fall into line and put up the walls properly, put up a proper defense, this could be blazing speed for PIXL, something that they could be very proud of. But Exto are really trying to put a reply in.
Got a few quick kills there. Phil and the Hanzo grabbing 2 of them. It's a job shutting down the offense, and now they're moving forward, trying to kind of recoup some of the lost space. Trying to slow this down before it can get really back onto this cart and keep it sailing, because when they got back on it, it went a long distance in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and a lot of that was off the back of Virginia on this. Reinhardt almost has another Earth Shatter ready to go for this next fight, but another pause, as probably still having some more of those standard Australian internet issues, as we should be getting back into this one quite shortly.
Indeed it was. Let me check the chat. It was Tub who called for the pause. There's a little bit of lag issues, and with a tournament of this nature, which is online, and with a country which does not have a solid infrastructure, which is all over the country, we will keep alluding to this every time this happens. But
it's region-based, because this isn't Australian internet. This is apparently New Zealand internet.
Well, fair play. That is fair play.
I know you're Australian. I know you don't see them as an actual country, and we're just like this thing that's off to the side.
We're in the World Cup. They're not. So that's my line of thinking. The pause was called by Tom, and we are back into the action. And there goes the silver new boy, and he will claim 3. 2 tanks at the mercy, and that has basically shattered the entire defense, and it blew away in a tide of Mountain Dew and nuclear fallout. And this payload will keep moving towards the monastery, and that will force Exto on the clock. They will have to try and muster a defense, and Phoenix, do you think they'll be able to do it with what they've got?
It's going to be a scramble, but the Graviton right at the start of this fight, with the Dragon Strike going through, they are able to pick up a couple of kills themselves, but with the side of PIXL having a few too many resources to work with, they're going to keep on pushing through. The whole hog has been utilized, but is getting largely denied, but does manage to take down Virginia, so that's the front line down. And with how quickly the defending team is able to reinforce, it looks like they're able to hold it for just that little bit longer, with 2 minutes left on the clock here, Dreamboat.
Oh, and they're gonna stagger Dubois so late here. They should. How has Dubois escaped? What is that? How does he get out of there? There was no way that should be allowed, but a hell of a shatter coming in, catching 4. Sham is gonna clean up Kamsky's. He's looking for some more. Dubois has been DMAC. Virginia has fallen. And now Dubois finally has been cleaned up. So it all worked out in the end. But man, that was almost a miracle escape from Dubois. It was a miracle escape from Dubois.
You really got to finish your food. That's the lesson of the day. If you're on the side of Exto, if you're on the verge of a scatter like that, a stagger like that, you really got to finish your frag off. But we will see another full-blown engagement as the payload starts to move out. Earthshatter does hit the deck. It will take out a little bit of the attack of the defense. They're going into a full-blown scrap on this payload. And Exto Gamer, they're trying as they might, but the resources are running thin by the second. Kamskys will get rid of Phil. And Phil on the Hanzo will take out Bad. This tit-tat affair. This might be more beneficial to Exo in the long run, but they are definitely being forced to sweat.
Oh, they do manage to take down 2 D socks on the Zenyatta with that mech explosion, but it's just a brawl. There's people slapping left, right, and center. But Kamsky just pulls the hero play out of the bag and manages to secure themselves this first round as Dreamboat. It looked like the defense were going to be able to hold on, but Kamsky's at the end there really pulled it out clutch.
Yeah, I mean, really part of the problem on that defensive hold on hole was the amount of space given up after point 1 failed. They tried to set up their defense too far forward. They basically bled 4 players in the end, and that allowed the cart to get so deep with so much time left on the clock. Now we swap over. You know, anything you can do, I can do better. The offense can absolutely match that time. 23 seconds left is by no means a fast time. However, we do have another game going on at the same time as this one. We have another game going on at the same time as this one too, Phoenix. That was Dignity versus Cascade. They're a little bit behind us. We're halfway through the second map. They just finished the first map. And Dignity actually took Liang Tower over Cascade. So Dignity's up 1-0 in that series. As PIXL are up 1-0 here, looking to go up 2-0.
Very interested to see how a lot of these first results are going to be playing out as we go forward in this event, the Rise Up Invitational. It's already showing itself to be a real cracker of a show that we have right now. The first series that we had today, it was a brilliant one, and considering how closely matched a lot of these, or both of these teams are so far, I'm really excited to see how the change in scenery is going to affect some of these teams in how they match up. But already we do have the defense getting set up, not necessarily as far forward as what the other team did, but now we have to see how solid of a defense they can put up here in the courtyard here, Cyber.
Indeed. Perhaps the Hanzo there just trying to get the recon arrow out. Yes, he will. He'll use the sonic arrow to sniff out the potential attack and then move all the way back. Yeah, the entire team will move the unit towards the actual courtyard, but they will have Jasper Jam to contend with on the side shape, and if he's not taken care of, he could be a thorn in their side the longer this goes on.
So they're coming in from multiple angles with Jasper Jam on the left. We've got we had the Roadhog, and now the Zenyatta coming in from the right, and the rest of the team just barreling through the center. The grab just managed to drag the Reinhardt back into the line of fire, but I believe a sleep dart did manage to get landed, but nothing was able to follow up on that. But it's a very interesting attack as they do manage to take down Duboy. A great kill to start this one off, as the Earthshatter does get dropped several members to the ground. Jasper Jam yet again takes another and a third, as well as the replying kill does come out, but it's a little bit too little too late, and now the rest of this defense is just collapsing as this offense is just going to keep on rolling forward, as Exto getting a good start to this round here.
Guys, I got the Widow. Yeah, but he killed 4 of us.
He's like, cool.
You know, it's a little bit too late there. Led to the defense crumbling, but we do have Kamsky's on the Widow as well, trying to match it, trying to find some big kills, but he's gonna be picked up by Jasper Jam. He's now popped out the wall hacks, looking for a few more kills. Kamsky's will be rezzed. So far, that's the only picks that have really come in. Finally, Virginia has fallen to Phil. That is on the Roadhog. Looking for a few more, but now the Helvestein and the mech coming in, and the Dragon Strike, all of these ultimates coming out, but it doesn't seem to matter. They still cap at the point, and Jasper Jam kills Kamsky's again.
Prior coming before a fall, he really wanted to take that duel with Jasper Jam again, maybe perhaps having a point to prove, but that entire first point attack could be solely attributed to Jasper Jam and just not being checked for the longest time, and Jasper just having free reign on the entire defense, just picking them apart like a surgeon, as it were. A cold-blooded surgeon with a scalpel. Well, not a scalpel, a giant rifle with a bullet with their name on it. Now that will send the side of PIXL into a little bit of a conundrum trying to line up a defense. It looks like they've done a decent job of it thus far, as the payload slowly starts to move towards the seaside portion of the street space.
Yeah, they're trying to get in on this defense. They do manage to take down the drum. They also managed to take down Tub on the back lines, but they are going to be able to trade it back. Jasper Jam did end up taking a bit of a long walk off a short pier, and that is going to secure the rest of this fight for this defense. It was looking a little bit scattered, I guess I should say, from this defense, but they're able to secure it a little bit tighter around this choke point, and they're able to secure themselves a little bit of extra time for themselves here, Rainbow.
Yeah, they've definitely bought some space and cranked out some nice kills. Got the ultimates to use as well. There's really nothing for this offense. They need to just go and rely on raw DM alone. Some good coordination. Getting right up in their faces right now. Sham is trying to frontline this. Of course, he is having to deal with his across-the-board counterpart. And that Earthshatter comes in and gets nothing. Nothing is nothing, as Jasper Jam has fallen to Duboy, but they pick off the Reinhardt. That gives them some space. The res will come in, but another Graviton is ready. They're cleaning up these kills again, and that is a bloodbath. Defense is holding. That's a team kill, Cyber Waste.
Sound the bell. The team has been wiped, and the Big Bang decided to show once again. And it was wonderful. That was Kamsky's bad in that collaborative effort, and that's basically locked this attack in place for the time being. We're running down to 2 minutes 20, and now the side of Exto Gaming are having another go as the Impresight does come out. The Dragon Strike does as well. Duboy will claim Sham and Tub. A healer and tank are taken off of the table. Kamsky's and Duboy are a 2-person wrecking crew, and Kamsky's really wanting to take 2D's socks off as well, and really making him sweat. He does end up living, but boy, did 2D socks come close to hitting the bench.
Yeah, and I'm just really liking how this defense is setting up in this position. In that from that first checkpoint, we saw how much Jasper Jam was able to get done, and it was a lot due to the setup of the defense. But now that they're in a bit more back to front style, not allowing a lot of these extra sight lines to really tear them apart, they're able to deal with it a little bit better. But Jasper Jam does get the first kill, but a great Earthshatter does manage to respond in this fight, but they're just trading back and forward. Bag gets taken down, as does Sham, and the payload is going to be moving throughout all of this, but it's just trading back and forward. Here comes the Graviton, not really much of the follow, as they do drop the Bio Nade. 2D Sogs just jumps straight in there to make sure that the healing is not going to be able to come through, but they're still trading back and forth. Here comes the Graviton from the defensive side. They're trying to clean up some of the members, but it's just not enough. Well, actually, I say that, but Bad is just going to zap them down. They do manage to lose Virginia, but the fight is already being dealt with as Aki manages to clean up a couple of members, and there goes the sound again. Dreamboat, they managed to hold on to this point yet again.
Yeah, ringing the bell multiple times. You get back-to-back team kills. That is so demoralizing to play against because it feels like you've tried a few different things, you've tried for better results, and you still just all die anyways. So really it is gut check time. 26 seconds left on the clock. Need to start getting in here. The Dragon's coming out. It's not going to find a kill, not going to connect with anyone. Just going to slow them down, push them off the cart. They're trying to find an opening. Any inch that they can take is all that they need. They're looking for it, Cyberwaste.
2D Socks took out one of the heavy hitters too, being the big Jew boy. We're running down to 10 seconds. And the Caesar slowly starting to be part of it. Jew boy is back into the fight thanks to Prowler. Thank you very much. Bad will take out the opposition heavy hitter with Jasper Jam. No more long sightlines for you. They'll like to keep it close and scrappy. And it's going back and forth. And now the payload is slowly starting to go around the corner. And might get towards the piers just before, but Sham will hit the deck. The entire attack has been evaporated, and PIXL will get the W and go up 2-0 in their first series.
Yeah, it looked like just how much needed to be expanded from Exsto to try and get some of those kills. It was just too much, and the rest of the team was not able to help out with the rest of the fight. And there we go. Play the game, the big 3-kill of that Diva Mech explosion, but the defense from PIXL was really solid once they're able to get set up on that second point. When they eliminated a lot of those extra sightlines, they were not getting punished nearly as much by Jasper Jam as they were on that first point there, Dreamboat.
Yeah, I mean, every time that you can punish a team just absolutely handedly, you're gonna win. Like that's such a key part. Is you punish the overextenders, you punish that one guy that's just a little bit to the left of the shield. You find any of the openings that you can, and you just exploit them. And it was something that worked out well for Exto in that very first push. It allowed them to get through. A lot of work was being done by Jasper Jam, but at the end, doesn't matter. You couldn't do it consistently. The Widow was there. It had peak moments. It had some really nice plays. But, if your Widow's only going to kill 3 people and the remaining 3 people kill 6 people, it doesn't really matter how well the Widow
it's just a matter of numbers at that point. Math. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. If your Widow's the only one getting kills and it's not getting a 6K every fight, you're not going to win. And then on the fights that everyone else seemed to be getting kills, the Widow went silent. They never had everyone firing at the right point, whereas PIXL Esports consistently had everyone firing in team fights. No one was getting the flashy 3 or 4Ks, but in every fight it felt like they were getting a couple guys were getting 2Ks, a couple guys were getting a kill apiece, and they were just doing a really good job contributing as a whole, working as a unit. And I mean, we saw that with 2 consecutive team kills in 2 consecutive fights, and that's just a testament to how that hold was working for them. It was unstoppable, Cyberwaste.
Indeed, it took them a while to sort of find their bearings, just thanks to the Widow just picking them apart initially, but they eventually came together, and it's pretty much a testament, as you were mentioning, to just basically shutting down a solo effort and just proving to everybody that Overwatch is a full-blown team game. And while nobody was overly flashy and stand out and just made a note to stand out, they just let their actions do the talking. And Jasper Jam, although it was a valiant effort and he was a menace initially, they eventually quelled him on the side of PIXL, and that, I feel, resulted in the defense holding extremely strong for that long time period right out the pier, where it's extremely open, where Jasper Jam can have free reign, but they basically shut him down and made him a non-factor.
Yeah, they just weren't able to get to that situation where they could utilize those longer sightlines and more varied sightlines, where Jasper Jam could get a lot of those good openings. But because they were just pushed back so far, they were just confined to just that one path under that arch that they weren't able to get a lot of value. And we saw towards the end, Jasper Jam trying to, he got very aggressive, even jumping up very close and personal with the PIXL back line. But it just wasn't enough. The rest of the team were not able to help out. And in the end, as you mentioned, once Jasper Jam kind of got contained, the rest of the defense was able to keep the rest of the team dealt with. And when it came to Ultimate Economy, PIXL was doing very well in using the right tools at the right time and not over-investing for that defense.
All right, we have a choice for our next battleground, which is chosen by Exsto, given that they were handed the loss on the previous map. And we will be going to the Temple of Anubis, one of the oldest, I think the oldest 2CP map, the oldest assault map in this discipline. And yet again, new heroes, new opportunities, new possibilities. We'll have to wait and see what both of these teams have to offer, and I really can't wait, especially given what we've seen from Jasper Jam on the Widow and how pivotal Widow is on mainly attack, in my opinion. Would really like to see how much of a factor he plays.
Yeah, there's big play potential there that we just need to see come out of him. And I like Anubis personally as a map. The only thing that can be awkward is just how long some of those fights on the second point can go. There's a lot of delays, a lot of spawns coming in, a lot of hero plays being attempted, and that can lead to just an absolute slugfest on that point. And I also quite like, just the first point on hole. Like, I like the entrances to it. Sometimes it can be a little bit choky, but overall, it's a classic map for a reason. It's been in since inception, and it's a map that's been played since inception because it is quite a good map.
Yeah, and as with pretty much every 2CP map, it's always the discussion about feast or famine. Are you going to get held on first point, or are you going to go several runs through and get about 6 points per team? And I wouldn't mind if we saw some very quick attacks coming in for both sides. I mean, how did the previous 2CP map? It ended up in a draw, but they did both go to the second run through. I'm not necessarily saying I want to draw, but I wouldn't mind seeing a few rounds of attack for both sides here.
I like how we connect and get paused. If that doesn't just sum up Australian internet, I don't know what will.
That's a very cheeky thing from one of the members there. Just making an allusion to said Australian internet. But we're moving on to Temple of Anubis, as you all mentioned, and oh boy, maybe we will see a repeat of the previous 2CP, which was Horizon Lunar Colony. Just going, maybe even blazing through the first 2 points, and perhaps seeing a drawn-out slugfest on one of the 2 points of the later halves, because there is the huge possibility of that occurring, given how, especially the first point of Temple of Anubis, how much variety there is in terms of plans of attack and defense, and just how insane some of the fights can get because of this variation of the high and low.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, just like the multitude of different variations to approach this. Do they want to go with the dive? Do they want to go with the slower setup? Do they want to just rush straight through and just not care about any kind of clean setup? Just make it to the point and just get the all-out brawling. It looks like we are on the defense. Going to be having Jasper Jam again. Going to be on the Widow. So with these long sight lines, that is going to be something that this attack is going to have to deal with at some point. But to see how they come in with his approach here, Dreamboat.
Well, it looks like they're going to be sitting in the top left corner in this defense, which I always do like. I just remember being mind blown the first time someone actually sat on that ledge. So new to me. But we've got the team coming through. This is Sombra. Skamsky's just invisible right now. Just getting a read on what this defense is. So they know that the players are right above them. and then they'll be able to dive right out in there. They hack out the D.Va, so that means that there is no debuff. The Mercy will be caught out. Sure, both supports, though, on the attack are down. Prowler and Aki will be picked off. Still trying to trade back some kills, but no health for this offense means that they shouldn't succeed. Although they're doing a very good job of finding kills regardless. Somehow this is working out.
Yeah, they have had no business in getting it to work with how quickly those two supports went down. Jesper is trying to do as much as he can from this high altitude, but because they are not on the point, it's very hard for them to actually contest it. It's making it much easier for this offense to get a couple of ticks for themselves. They are going to be able to take down Kemskis thanks to a Widow Mine. The Venom Mine and the rest of the reinforcements are coming in for both attack and defense. It's looking like this point is going to continue, or the fight is going to keep on continuing, but it looks like I'm actually just not sure what the hell's going on here. So it's just trading back and forward.
It's a full-blown war of attrition. I did say right from the start it would be a slugfest. That's exactly what we ended up getting. But the attackers will end up winning the order of the day and get 6 minutes and 25 seconds to move on to point B. And they are very well poised to do so, especially with Kamskis ready to let that EMP go.
There it is, well placed. The Dragon Blade will actually get out just in time. It picks up the Summer and the Ana. So that's a couple pairs of nice picks. Blitz is going to get one as well, getting a second one. This defense will hold despite the great EMP.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough, and as you mentioned, with that Dragon Blade getting drawn out, able to pick up a couple of kills, and when it comes to this point 2, or point B, here on Anubis, if you start losing members on the attacking side, it's very hard to keep the fight going with how efficiently the defense can essentially reload their team.
And especially because the spawn gates are so close for the defense. It is a constant on a lot of the 2CBs, but it's very well pronounced here. Dubois has unsheathed his blade though, and has cut Jesper Jam in half. Virginia has called for time to ride the lightning, but Phil is able to reply. Kamskis has killed the baby D.Va, and now they're having another go and making a good go of it. And the side of PIXL are actually really making a good case to take this point outright. And Bad will basically be a raid of terror, ejecting 2 with the self-destruct and 1 with the body blast. The 2D Socks has been headed to the bench. The entire team is on the respawn, and we will get 2/3 before a rebuttal is in play from Exsto.
He is trying to ray onto the point, but cleaned up, and no one else can get there. Oh my lord, the primal range was perfect. They all tried to come out the same side, and he was just smacking them around, knocking them back into spawn. And that was a very, very quick pace. 450 left in the bank. Wow. And before I let you get into what we just saw, Phoenix, I will just quickly note that the second map of the series between Dignity and Cascade has now been finished. Dignity picking that one up, so it is now 2-0 in that series. Dignity looking poised to take that one.
Very nice. We've seen some very interesting results so far on this first day of the Rise Up Invitational. But yeah, on that first point, the attack, once they were able to kind of reassert themselves, the first push onto that point B wasn't really the strongest. They ended up getting picked apart, even though they did have a nice EMP. Their second run through was much stronger, utilizing the Nano Blade. They were able to clean up the supporting cast, and from there it was just struggle street for the defense, just staggering to get onto the point, but really well done. Very good control of space there from the side of PIXL, and now we're looking to see how Exto are going to come in with their attack now.
Definitely really wanted to dig in on the defense. They see the Orisa, the Junkrat to make things extra explodey. Kamskis as well to be a nuisance in the back line, which he was in the previous point, and being one of the bigger factors in my opinion. And golly, imagine just running into a tirade of days of any Junkrat, especially what a player as explosive as Dubois, which we have seen previously tonight. But we are having the gates open, and Exto, show us what you got. You have to attack now and try to best the time of your opponents of PIXL.
Well, they are starting to move straight through the gate, but the Sombra is in behind. Hacks are coming down. They're doing a lot of damage right now, but they haven't converted any kills yet. They will demech the D.Va, but the Ryan is already on the point. That means he's not helping his team out at all. He's not blocking any damage, so they are getting cleaned up. Sham will find one, but ultimately it will be a full cleanup. The res will come in on the Orisa. And so there will be spawn that needs to come in. It's just a Zenyatta though. Feels bad.
Yeah, it feels real bad. That attack, you got the right composition, the somewhat standard composition that we've seen over the past couple of months, but just the jungler and the amount of extra damage being thrown around is a little bit too much to deal with, as here comes the Riptide, manages to clean Phil right out of the skies, and they are able to also take down Jesper Jam on the Widow, and it looks like the fight is going very well. The Resurrection does come in onto Phil, but that is just used to retreat from this fight, as already this defense is held very strong yet again here, Simon.
Indeed. Just because you're running a composition that has 3 tanks doesn't mean that you will be able to quell any sort of defense. They're having another go on the side of Exto though. Vikamski's being an absolute menace has dropped Sham, so that is one heavy hitter in the most literal sense of the word because of his potential primal rage. He's been taken out of the fight. That's forced Exo to wait even longer. The 2-minute 30 point has just elapsed, and Exo thus far have not even come close to getting on the point and getting a attack going.
Oh, here comes a great EMP, and right off the bat, 2D Sox is going to get demolished. Has no chance to survive there, and also Sham gets dropped as well, thanks to the whole hog from Bad, but that is just going to be one and done kind of fight. They utilized the EMP and the whole hog, but that is it. They still have some tools to work with for this next defense here, Dreamboat, as it looks like they're going to stall out for quite a bit longer.
I just love the fact that it is called the whole hog. It's like, when he doesn't use it, is he just like half hog, and then as soon as he gets his ult, he becomes full? It's like a little part of him missing without it. I love it. It's great. You know what else is great? The attack coming in there. The ult from the Barrage, not able to find anything. It just took down the Bongo as he got cleaned up, as did his teammate. A few more ults coming in, and please, he's gonna get 2. They're picking up the Orisa and the Junkrat. So that's a nice job. They're getting that one off. Now looking for a few more kills. The rest is coming back in on the Junkrat. Rift Tower comes out. It gets denied as Sham has picked up a 2K. This offense is working it. They're cleaning up everybody, and they will finally get through this first point. Cyber Waste.
It took them a lot of work, but they finally got there, and that is the second time a point has been breached via a self-destruct that we have seen in this series. It happened last map on Rialto. It happened once again, this time at the hands of the attacking D.Va first. And now the defense has changed up a little bit. We have Virginia on the Hammond, and now in the ball form. The camera trick will prove quite useful. Drops down right in the back line. A power driver that could rival the Undertaker. And they move onto the point to Exto Gaming. And it will be up to PIXL to try and offer a rebuttal, and they're doing a decent job thus far.
Yeah, they do manage to take down the Wrecking Ball. Just not enough health to keep alive as Jesper Jam. He's been doing a hell of a lot of work on the Widow, but right now he's just slamming left, right, and center with this Brigitte, as they do manage to secure the point for themselves just a little bit longer. Virginia is back into the fight on the Wrecking Ball. Does get a lot of extra health thanks to the adaptive shields. It's just so annoying to deal with, as the mines are going to get dropped, make it a little bit harder to navigate on that side of the point, but Phil and Pliz are doing so much work on the offensive side of things. The Coalescence is doing a lot of work as well. A great Bionade onto so many members, but it's just not nearly enough. Sham is just slamming with this Roadhog, the Graviton, to secure a lot of that, and that is going to be it for round 2. They do end up securing the point here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, very, very quick pace. You know, it took a lot of time to get that first point, but that's not the one that matters. As long as you get it, you're kind of in good shape. Because if you can steamroll like that, the ability that you can have sometimes to just roll straight through point 1, straight to point 2, and cap it out like that is massive. So yeah, their first point time, a lot slower than their opposition. They made up for it big time on that second point. They're only a minute behind now. 3 minutes, 44 seconds is what they bank. And now they get the chance to go right back at them. Time for round 2 as we head into overtime. Or I guess
Extra
is overtime.
Is usually
extra
what we
innings. There you go.
We go to extra. It's time to stretch. About 30 seconds left in strat time, or freeze time, or whatever term you prefer. But we see the wrecking ball off the break. Sham's actually teasing it. I'm actually kind of curious as to whether that will be utilized similar to how Virginia had it in the second point. Actually curious to see how it would end up on attack either way. But with all that being said, the gates are about to come down. Defense from PIXL are well stocked. They're sticking to what works, but perhaps it'll hold up again for a second time. Time to go.
On their first defense, it did hold on for quite a while at this first point, but once it was broken, it really did collapse. Thanks to a few alterations to the composition from the attack side, Exto did start out with the very heavy 3 tank 3 support setup, but they did make some adjustments which helped out a hell of a lot, but they are just running straight through. But Kamsky's right off the bat takes down Phil. He is going to have his wings clipped. The resurrection does come through, so Farah's going to be back in the fight, but already we do have the defense straight back on the point, not allowing any presence to be taken towards that capture point. And this attack is coming from multiple different angles here, Grupo.
Yeah, it's a very multifaceted approach, but it hasn't seemed to work out. Instead of kind of swarming them, they've been separated and mulched as bad. Picks a 1v1 with Phil. Diva's gonna win that most of the time when it does win it out. Aki now picks up the Roadhog, and that fell apart. They tried to swarm around it instead. They wound up just splitting themselves up.
That's definitely not where you want to be until these socks gets put through the ringer again and give it as a healer. You're gonna have to wait a little while longer for him to come back into the fray. The Infrasight will come out from Kamsky's that will show their hand on the side of Extra for the time being. And the side of PIXL, they will have more than enough to deal with this push. And poor Phil just got bombarded with orbs from Zenyatta. Just got deleted off of the server, and that will make things even harder for Exo. They are running down to 2 minutes. Only a single ult to show for it, that being the Valkyrie. And compared to PIXL, they have barely a thing to show.
Yeah, it's going to be very rough, this attack, and with how this defense is set up behind the shield, here comes the Rip Tire to really secure a lot more of this defense. As the dive in does come through, Sham is going to get cleaned up, as will the mech, so as soon as it started, it's finishing just as quickly as the rest of this defense is just a little bit too strong. PIXL really holding on here.
Weapon system.
And another thing to note, they actually only used a single ultimate there. They only used the Riptide, so they still have Transcendence, Self-Destruct, Valkyrie, and a potential supercharger on deck in this next fight. Yes, it's just come live now. So there it goes. It's just gone down behind the shield, and it's going to make things even more difficult, especially losing a man for Exo to even mount a proper defense. Sham's trying his hardest. He's turned the supercharger to scrap, but that may be all he'll be able to muster. Bad has ejected himself from the back. Jasper Jam finally gets his counterpart Kamsky. Sham is knocked back. Extremely angry and extremely annoyed at it taking so long to finally break the defense. Sham has knocked the defensive PIXL about for a little bit, and finally, it took them a while, but we are in the midnight hour. They have seized the point for Exto Gaming. A little bit of extra time will be added on. Will they be able to keep the momentum going, Dreamboat?
Well, that point was a small area. It was like Sham was a monster in the bank and just telling people to get these hands, ripping off faces, smacking them around and getting a nice 3K there, opening things up for his team. So now they have 45 seconds to try and get in to the secondary point. They are slowly waiting for their spawns to come in, waiting to regroup, waiting to move as a unit. Curious to see how they're going to push this in, Phoenix.
Yeah, they're going for the same play as they did in the previous round. Virginia up high on this wrecking ball, trying to get them and slam them as soon as they walk through that arch, but it was already caught out with a lot more mobility to get around a lot of those plays. But Tootie Sox managed to take down Prowler at the start of this fight. The Ana not going to be there, as Aki does come through with the Transcendence, helping out the rest of the team. Able to trade it back and forth, but here comes the Dragon Blade. Managed to take down Bad at the start of it. Managed to take down Aki as well. So the Blade doing a lot of work, and they're trying to get as much done as this Wrecking Ball is just going to be running its way straight through the point, being a big nuisance. Kamsky takes care of Phil as the mech explosion yet again comes through, this time from the other side. Just trading back and forth, but with overtime being activated, it's up to the defense to keep on staggering through right now, because it's looking like the offense is starting to maintain a bit of control as a great slam from Virginia gets a lot of members in the air, and here comes the Rocket Barrage, takes down 2, and also D-Max is a great control of this point, and they're not able to get back onto it, and it looks like the defense holds strong here.
Now that leaves us with a case where it is officially do or die for Exsto Gaming. There is 1 point that was capped. That was good. That's a good. The bad is that they can't let them get even a singular tick on to that second point. They did not get any time towards it. And really, with the way that PIXL pushed in the first kind of round, you have to feel confident that they should be able to get at least a tick. We shall see, though. They have 4 minutes and 49 seconds to work with. That's a lot of time banked up. So it all comes down to what this defense is going to be, Cyberwaste.
Indeed, they're really wanting to take their time and get things right, because once this defense crumbles and they'll only have the second one to really fall back on, the best they could hope for is a draw if the first point falls. So they'll be focusing a lot of their attention up front, and if it does fall, they'll just have to try and bleed for the draw on the card and be on the record. So they've got a long time to deal with. I know it's possible. I've seen it happen. Will they be able to call it out? We're running down to the final 3 seconds. The gates will drop. PIXL, it is time to attack. You have more time to do it. Show us what you got. It looks like aggression is the order of the day, just based on the setup alone.
Yeah, it looked like Jasper Jam going very far forward with a bit of help from the shield from the Orisa that Sham had dropped for him earlier. But with this attack slowly making the way through, they are going to engage on it. Duboy on the backside with the Genji is able to really split apart this defense, as the front line is also there, as well as Virginia is going to get cleaned up, but they do manage to get a kill in return. But they're just trading back and forth. Really nicely done here from the defense. They're holding strong, not allowing this offense to really tear them apart. And Dreamboat, they're holding on for now.
Dubois doing what he can, though. He's picked off the Widow and he gets the Mercy. Will be cleaned up in the end, but the Junkrat has fallen too, so there's actually going to be the reaggress coming back in here. Virginia is right on the point as the Winston. The Sombra's here as well. They're starting to give up a little bit of time onto this first tick as the rest of these spawns are starting to come forth. The kills are the important thing, though. They need to find something as the Diva is going to drop the bomb on the point. Not going to find anybody. Is Virginia popping the primal range, smacking it around, knocking people off this point. They've got 1 tick. They are looking for some more. They demech the Diva. They found the rest of these kills. Oh my lord, the Diva is so far forward for them as well. They're going to be able to absolutely cap that out. And now they're trying to steamroll through, trying to convert this into the second point. They have picked off Phil. That is the Junkrat down. The rest of the players are coming in with the Lucio speed boost. They are right in deep 2D stocks, though. He picks up the Ana. That is a very big play. They're looking for some more. Bad will go down, and it looks like the defense will be able to stop the snowball effect.
They came close, though. They came close to that third. And I guess Exsto can thank their lucky stars that things tapered out the way that they did, because in my opinion, if the Diva of Bad actually got his back, that could have been all over Red Rover. And then one to have a go again. Virginia's already jumped the gate and having a tussle with the defense. And 2D stocks will say, yeah, that's enough of that. Given it's a huge takeout very early on, the side of PIXL would be very wise to fall back, especially with Prowler being sent to the bench by Phil.
Yeah, but these have just been some dry runs coming in for this offense of PIXL. You can see the amount of ultimates they have now. All they have left still outstanding is the Primal Rage, but with how long a lot of these fights have been going for, they could very well have it by the time the fight is really off and kicking, as an EMP comes in. They're looking to secure the end right now, but a great Transcendence does negate a lot of it, as Bad does manage to take down just for Jam, but a great Riptide does get the return kill, as here comes the Dragon Blade, slices through one, slices through another, and it looks like Jubilee is trying to shut them out here and now. They're trying to get the rest of the members of this defending team off the point, but with how close this spawn point is, it's very hard for them to cleanly secure this as Cyberways they're managing to hold on despite how much was invested by this offense.
They've only given a small bit of rope, but they are hanging on, and if you're Pixel, you would have to be a little bit frustrated. You threw everything you had at it, a full war chest. You were mentioning it earlier, it was pretty much only the Primal Rage, which was outstanding. Virginia almost has that now. And goodness me, they will more than likely just go for a dry run, and with the time that they have left, they will have maybe one and a half pushes left to go, and Virginia has the Primal Rage at the ready, and has the entire team boxed in, and Drew Boy will cut Jasper Jam down to size, making you lose your legs. Virginia will knock Phil's out of the mech, and Kansky's will finish off the dirty work. The EMP will come out from Kansky's to hopefully seal the deal for Pixel, as Exsto files in single file, and now that there are a pair on the point, there is a little bit of a chance of Exsto tipping the scales of war back in their favor. It's a true back and forth, and now Pixel have time going against them, and perhaps this point could actually not go to them, and this could end up in a draw if things pan out.
They're trying to delay it as long as they can. Half the tick is already there. They're finding all of these kills while this offense is getting them. There is still Jasper Jam on the point on the Tracer, but the Dragon Blade is going to come out. They're looking for whatever they can. They are still trying to climb it up as the spawns keep coming out. They still keep killing them. But it's just a matter of knocking them off the point. The Primal Rage is going to come down and starting to delay. The hack comes in. The health is so poor. They still keep alive. And they managed to force them off the point. The tick is so close. It's right there. They can smell it. They can taste it. They need a sick, like, their nipple hairs away right now. They are just going to knock them off, and they will get it at the very end. Pixel win it. Wow.
That took so long, that final fight. You could just see how often Pixel were just like, why won't you just die? There's so often the respawns were coming through, and Exto were just holding on by the skin of their teeth for so many of those final fights, but in the end, it was just a little bit too much. Pixel were able to secure themselves just that single point and pick up a third map for themselves. And already we're starting to see how strong of a team this Pixel lineup is here, Cyber.
They definitely had to scratch. They had to scratch and claw that one, and golly, good on Exto for figuring that out and holding on for so long, bleeding so much time. They almost got it, but Pixel did end up coming strong in the end and getting the third map to their name. And for mere formality's sake, and because each of the disciplines are covered, we will go to a final map, and that is the choice of Exto. And we are going to Eichenwald, where we have a chance to storm the castle.
Yeah, interestingly enough, over the course of the night, we've had all of the maps in the pool actually shown on stream. So, pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right, we've had no repeats.
Except for Lijiang Tower, but that's just like the standard.
We're talking about the ones that can be varied.
The variable ones. So yeah, we've had a whole lot of unique maps here in over the course of this night, and had a lot of interesting adaptations from each of these teams throughout the course of these rounds. And Dreamboat, how are you looking at coming into Eichenwald with the introduction of Wrecking Ball? We're seeing how impactful he can be. What are your thoughts on him for this stage here on Eichenwald?
Well, I'm very curious to see if it can be a new way of breaking in, because I hate this map. I despise Eichenwald. Now, that's not because it's inherently a bad map or anything. I just happen to despise it because I don't think I have ever won a game on this map in my history of playing it. We always seem to lose. The teams, I get unlucky, I perform poorly, it doesn't matter. I could have 50 limbs or one, we'd still lose, and usually it's because we don't even manage to count the first point. So I hate this map. I despise it. So I'm very curious to see if there's anything I can take away to stop hating this map as much as I do.
I think you will be on an island on your own there, Dreamboat. A little bit of a. I know you might have a little bit of a reason to hate it, but it's actually one of my favorite maps. But it is an absolute war of attrition, especially on the first point. If the defense could lock it down, the defending point to be at Exsto with this is if they could lock it down, it's going to be quite the uphill climb. And another map that could actually be ending up in a draw. But now is the time to tell the tale, but we will have a little bit of a delay in the printing of that. We've had a little bit of a call for a pause, just the gates open.
You step out of the door and immediately just straight into another wall. Just, now there's a bit of a bait, but we'll be getting into it very shortly. Just some more lag, just standard A and Z things. But looking at the compositions that we have so far, we've got the pharmacy on both sides, which, considering how this point is structured, does make a lot of sense. You have a lot of space in the air to really utilize, and also have some good angles to keep yourself protected, because all the time it's all right to be in the air, but when you have a lot of other DPS throwing their shots at you, you want to find somewhere to hide, but not just necessarily dropping to the floor. And with this big bell tower in the center, that is one of the things that you have to your advantage, and also a lot of the other rooftops that you can duck behind and then re-engage. So looking to see how this Pharah matchup is going to go, and whether or not it's going to really dictate the pace of this game here, Dreambo.
Yeah, this is... It's so many different ways that you can play this. Like, you can vary your approach. You can play it slow, you can play it fast, you can do a little bit of flanks, you can try and get behind them, you can try and just brute force them through the front door. Each, has its merits, and I'm curious to see how they approach it. Looks like it's gonna, like... I guess you can't really say what it's going to look like, considering there's still a lot of pre-game time left for them to change their heroes. They can just be completely baited by what we see, but it looks like they are going to be ready. They are going to be unpausing here, so we'll be able to figure out if what they're on currently is the comp that they will actually be running.
Perhaps it does remain to be seen. I would really like to see the pharmacy duel, which is laid out on the table for us according to the matchups, given there is a lot of cover for Pharahs as well with the rooftops and everything, but the game has started moving, the gates have dropped, and now it is time for PIXL to mount an attack, and Virginia already getting focused down very early on board, down to halfway, and definitely making his presence known as Phil is looking right over the point, and on the side of PIXL, they're really using aggression, and they just really want to get this done quickly. And Aki and Duboy are making short work of that, Dreambo.
Yeah, they have just shredded this point. They've gotten right in, grabbing a lot of space. There is still a few players left here, but they are going to be able, pretty close to get a tick here. Blizz is doing what he can to delay. Should be cleaned up. There it will be. Tick 1, tick 2, and 3 should follow suit. I don't think there is going to be much of a contention coming in. No, they're already setting up for their defense back past that. And they're going deep into them. They're taking a fight right at this. And they're finding a lot more kills here. They still managed to just frag out. They're going so aggressive, and it's working for them. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, able to force back this defense just a little bit further, give them a little bit more space to push this payload through, but just really liking how this pharmacy was playing on that first point. Just allowed the ground army to essentially push through uncontested. Desperate Jam does get a nice kill onto Duboy, as there have been the switches when it comes to the compositions. No longer the pharmacies, we do have the Genjis, but Jasper Jam is going to be able to pick off a couple of members himself, but they do end up trading back, and this defense is actually starting to hold on. They're able to really move their way forward, get really aggressive, and dive that back line, but with members starting to fall, the payload has been moving just this little bit, but it's still stuck right at this gate here, Cyberway.
Really has to start getting the move, or else it could be dire for them. But that crisis, quote unquote, has been averted, and this battering ram will start to make its way up the hill and towards the castle. And we move into 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And really, PIXL are already trying to take to the skies, but Phil has cut down Prowler, and that's one healer, and now both healers taken out of the fray, so that's not going to make things easy for PIXL to sustain. And this push has been completely called off, and even though Virginia did get a party gift on a Jasper Jam, They're gonna have to recoil, wait for everybody to come back, and give it another
Don't
try.
stop. Let's get it moving.
We must keep it safe.
They're still just poking the corner, trying to move around, waiting for their chance to engage, and here they go, raided on top of the D.Va. Both D.Va and Winston are crashing with D.Va and Winston, and both pop Primal Ridge trying to get through as Shem's in a lot of trouble, but that mech is going to pick off the Genji. Zenyatta's down the pit, D.Va's being demeched in all kinds of trouble. These kills are coming through as the offense continues to roll.
Yeah, able to really utilize their ultimates, especially when they started pushing through and there was a lot of open space to work with. That D.Va mech explosion really split up that defense and they were able to pick them apart one by one. And the defense was just not able to hold on themselves as the leap tried to come through the hole on the gate, but it wasn't enough. But the rest of the team was there in time to be able to stall out this point, but just a little bit longer. The mech explosion does take down Aki, but they do end up trading back and forth. Kamsky's really starting to pop off here on this Tracer, and Sham is going to go down as well. They're starting to bleed members here on this defense, but with how the rest of the team is starting to fall as well, going to be a bit of a tentative defense here. It's just Jasper Jam here left, but here comes the Blade trying to slice away through, and a return Blade as Juboy is going to start cutting his way through this defense, and it looks like actually the Primal Rage is going to get dropped, but because he jumped off the point, the capture has been secured. Just a bit of an overextension on that defense there, Cyber.
Bit of an awkward jump there. He was mid Primal Rage and he leaped way too far forward. That forced the point to fall to PIXL. The battering ram has now entered the castle, and now the side of Exto are really trying to scramble for a last point defense. We do have the transcendence for 2D socks there though, so a little bit of sustain could be possible. There goes the self-destruct. Not able to get a frag, but will push everybody back. The transcendence does come out from both sides, as a matter of fact. So this war of attrition will continue. There is still progress on the payload, so that is a bright side for PIXL. And now 2D Sons is getting battered around and electrocuted, but in the meantime, Sham and Phils are trying to even the odds. The D.Va mech is taken out of commission to put to scrap. Newboy has unsheathed the blade, and Kamskis has shown off the pulse bomb and how explosive it is. And Phil's the only person to reply with the Dragon Blade, but gets promptly put to bed by the Tracer of Kamskis, and we are so close to the final point.
They're looking to find these final kills that they need. They've gotten it so close, they just need to hit it to the threshold. It's gonna be Shaman Plays getting a couple kills for the defense. That is going to slow things down. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left though, and they need to move it like a couple feet. That's really all they need to go. Not very far, so it should be doable, but you know, this defense, they could pull it out.
Absolutely. Now that they're able to secure themselves some space, they can get a little bit further forward and get themselves into a position that's much more easier to defend around some of those more narrow entryways to the castle, rather than allowing them free reign to come through at all these angles. But here comes the Graviton. They're trying to follow up on that, but because of the rallying up, that's going towards the other side. But Kamsky is moving over to the McCree, actually gets the first kill onto Please, as they're going to move their way towards the point with the help of the Valkyrie. Both Reinhardt's throwing shade left, right, and center, but Phil manages to get the pulse bomb onto Virginia. That is going to be the front liner down, and they're not able to get the resurrection there, but they do utilize the Transcendence to allow Prowler to get there and get the resurrection onto Virginia, so they will have their front liner. And here comes the Riptire, trying to follow up on some of the extra players, but they do manage to take down the Mercy, and they're just getting so many kills here from this offensive side. PIXL trying to push their way all the way through to the end. The Tracer is in the wings trying to help out as the May does manage to avoid that Earth Shatter, utilizing the cryostasis, and blocks away the charge with the wall. And it looks like this defense is starting to hold on. They're so very close, but these very last minute desperation hero swaps have it really worked out for them here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, they've absolutely managed to delay it just enough. May is doing all kinds of work, which is always a scary thing to say. Like I said, they do still have 40 seconds left. They have another push. They have a few ults to use on it, and the defense has absolutely nothing. so they can lay it the smack down here. Duboy has the tower going through, trying to find in, and it's gonna be taken up by the fire strike. The Deadeye's coming out here as well, but against two of them, it gets the Rhyme, the Mercy, the May has been cleaned up. This could be it. The Diva's there, the Zenyatta, they should find all of these. They will be cleaned up, and the point will be capped. They have done it.
It took them a long time, but they ended up seizing Baldrick's armor, and on the back of it, I'd feel Kamsky's basically shattered that defense because of taking out one of the crucial parts, being the Mercy and the Reinhardt, which shortly fell right after her. And while it's not an impressive time bank, they did end up finishing the map and forcing extra innings should we require it. And now, Exto Gaming, you have it all to play for. You have to finish the map and get a better time to keep this map going.
And speaking of finishing maps, Cyber Waste, guess who happened to finish their map in the other game that's off screen? Dignity and Cascade finished Temple of Anubis, and get this, a 4-4 draw for map 3. So the first two matches of the series did go Dignity's way, so they have like the 2-0-1 lead in the series. But man, a 4-4 draw, that's brutal. And team in group suicide, that's also brutal.
It's a pack.
That was well coordinated though.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a sign of their coordination, how on point it is. They all do when to jump. It's like those weird packs that you see at the movies. Who knows? Anyway, with all that said and done, we're down to 30 seconds at Exto. Are in a little bit of a stage of trying to figure out how to approach this map. As we alluded to earlier on, there are a lot of different methods to attack it. 2D Socks is sitting on the Hammond. Perhaps we will see him come out, or maybe he's just destroying the bar. Yeah, he's just
Maybe he's just baiting you.
I got God.
Yeah, you most definitely got God, and they are going to be running with essentially the same lineup that PIXL did with their attack, wanting to have a lot of dive while also controlling a lot of the space in the air with the pharmacy, to see if they're going to be able to get some better results from their attack than they did on their defense when it comes to the pharmacy duels, as Duboy did end up getting the better of him, as a great direct hit there opens up the exchanges. But throughout all of this, the fight is still going to go on the ground, as they are diving very deep behind the point. 2D Stocks takes down Kamsky's, but Sham is going to fall for it at the same time. But trading back and forward, it is going to be the attack starting to get some of the kills with the Mercy, or with the Mercy eventually going down, and the Pharah as well. It looks like the defense is not going to have enough to hold on here, Dreamboat.
Yeah, defense, they did their darnest, but they've been cleaned up. There's still the Pharah up above from Dubois, just trying to rain in some damage, rain in some justice from above, and just see if they can't find a kill. But, you know, just a little bit of damage, build up that ult so that you can rain legitimate justice in when they come through this choke point.
That will be the order of the day, but definitely smell that blood, the water on the side of PIXL. That really want to go forward. Kamsky's will drop Jasper Jam, and that will make things a little bit more difficult. And PIXL really trying to lock down this defense, and it's right under the gate. And it could be extremely awkward moving forward, because where Kamsky's is looking to be positioned, looking right at the spawn gate, and that could be a real thorn in their side if the side of Exo are not careful, and that will aptly demonstrate my point, as 2D Socks gets a bullet right between the many eyes of Zenyatta.
Yeah, and already we have seen that Kamsky's been doing so much work with his Widow, and is looking to keep control
My ultimate is
of these
almost ready.
sightlines, as we do have the pharmacy still engaged, as Phil manages to get the kill onto Kamsky's, and that's going to open up a lot of space for this offense. But the Diva Mech is going to be used as a covering fire, essentially, for this defense, as they are going to start getting some kills. Jasper Jam gets one, Phil gets another, and here comes a Rocket Barrage, which gets completely denied, although it does get enough into the face of Sham to take him down, but it's not going to be enough. This defense is starting to fall. Jasper Jam really starting to take control here, Dreambo.
Yeah, they've done a great job of grabbing space. They're moving this payload up. Gotta love the Zenyatta. Good old 2D Socks. What a good man. sitting on the cart for his
No
team,
one can
as the rest of them have
hide
extended
from
straight
my
forward,
heart.
trying to find any kills that they can. They will start to fall back though, because there was no kills to be found. And now Jasper Jam's in a lot of trouble. Virginia's going to jump right on his face as Winston not able to find that kill, but a good job of just forcing him off the angle. Pitch is going to come in though. All these players are up above, and they're right above their opposition. Sham though, he jumps in, he finds 2 kills, picking up the Zenyatta, getting the Widowmaker as well. Great job with the Winston, looking for more. He's even DMAxed the Diva. Sham is doing all kinds of work. Rez is going to come in. Dubois found a kill. They're looking for a few more, but it looks like the offense is still the one finding them. Phil doing a great job.
Staggered out extremely bad. And there goes the self-destruct. Basically just get the new mech back. And now, the only objective now for PIXL is to bleed time. The blade did get unsheathed from Dubois, did get the counterpart Phil, but that will be all he'll be able to muster. And the proton and the cannons on the front of this mech should end up dispatching of him, but he did get quickly ejected. And Dubois is a little bit cranky and ended up cutting the mech and the pilot clean in half. And this payload, the battering ram is stuck on the bridge, and we have 2 minutes 35 for Exto to find a new position and get it moving forward.
Yeah, they did end up having some staggered death. They're still staggering some as Virginia actually falls, stepping forward a little bit too far. So that is going to be a bit of a pain for them when it comes to their next defense, but already holding on for a little bit longer than what we somewhat expected, considering how that first attack came through. And now with this infrared vision, they're able to see how this approach is coming through from the side of Exto Gaming, and seeing how this defense is setting up, it's very spread out. But so far, it seems to be holding on for now, and as you mentioned, it's just about delaying and just bleeding out the clock at this point here.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, it doesn't matter if, you know, how much time it takes for them to cap, if they can't cap at all, though. And that's what they seem to be doing here. They seem to not just be bleeding that time out, they seem to not even be letting these guys get even close to second point. So who cares about the time on the clock when they're just absolutely stonewalling right now? It's beautiful to see. They are trying to regress right in on to them, jumping up there. That mech is going to come out. Not going to be able to find any kills. And the Dragon Blade is popped off as well. Transcendence being used. But the Dragon Blade is deep in the back line, finding Kamsky's the only one he's going to be able to find with that ult. And they might be able to catch him out. It actually is going to fall down a pit. Rest in peace, Phil. You're a gamer.
Sorry, buddy, that's not going to happen. Dubois has unsheathed the blade of his own, will cut Jasper Jam down to size. The Transcendence did end up coming out, nullifying a lot of that, and the Divas ended up getting into a duel, and Bad will be on the losing end of that. This payload is actually still contested, and pretty much an even keel until Sham and Phil end up getting tally frags on their own. Kamsky's the only person to reply. Virginia will take the healer out of the fight. That will make things a little bit more difficult for the side of Exto to be topped up. And now we are down to 30 seconds. It is do or die time now for Exto. And Jasper Jam has the potential to be staggered extremely hard given his current position, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So there is going to be no long distance. And now we are down to 10 seconds, and it's going to be just a touch, and it's going to be extremely scrappy from here on out, Phoenix.
Yeah, they have to get there. They have to get to the point just to secure over time for themselves. Watch into the game. They are on the point, but getting across this bridge has been a real thorn in their side. This defense of PIXL have just put their staff in the ground and said, "You shall not cross this bridge," as they are going to go in. They have used the Dragon Blade as a Transcendence is there as well, but because of the amount of space this has brought them, they are able to push it almost towards the point, as it looks like this defense is going to be able to hold on. The Valkyrie is keeping the rest of the team topped up. They're just scrambling this attack, trying to get onto the point. The Dragon Blade comes out, it manages to slice through several members. They're not able to get back to the point, and PIXL shut them out and secure themselves to the 4-0.
Complete and utter shutout, and it did get a little bit hairy there, as we see the play from Kamsky's as the play of the game. This was, in my opinion, what brought the final point of Eichenwald when they were on attack. That was just the best time, and just got him to drop his shield, and then he will surely follow. But with all that said and done, PIXL will be your victors. They are not dead, they are alive and in living color. And they sweep out Exsto Gaming in a format set 4 maps to 0. And that will bring the first night of Rise up to a little bit of a wind down. And Dreamboat Phoenix, can I get your thoughts on this evening as a whole?
I think, you know, it was really fun for one. Like, I absolutely love the two of you, so that makes this even more special. But in terms of the games, like, we saw a lot of really nice performances from some players. We saw some really good hero plays, some good picks, some good strategy. Saw some close games. You know, the score lines of the two games we did, 3-0 and 1, and 4-0, aren't terribly close. But the games are actually a lot closer than some of the score lines indicate. Especially, you know, like how long those holds were on Temple of Anubis stand out in my mind for this past game. Like, there was some really nice play, and it makes me really excited considering this is just day one. Like, there's more games tomorrow at the same time, 7 and 8:30. There's more games, a hell of a lot more games left in this tournament. So it really makes me just super excited for the rest that we have coming down the pipe, because some of these teams just showed such nice potential.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, just even though the scores do look somewhat one-sided, even from the losing teams, they have had some real highlight moments. As we mentioned, we've had Jasper Jam and previously just having Jasper Jam just doing really well with that Widow, and also the rest of the team also having some highlight moments for themselves. And Koi in the previous series, able to really show some highlight plays with the Genji for the Silence. So even though the team didn't necessarily get the wins and it didn't necessarily look all that close on the scoreboard, there are winners' opportunities for them to really grow over the course of this event. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much growth is going to occur for not just the lower teams but also the upper teams going forward throughout the rest of this event.
So the start of a very long and interesting journey, and a cultivation, if you will, of some of the stars of tomorrow in Overwatch, because a lot of these teams are from the Open Division system and from Contenders Trials. Some of them have actually been in previous Contenders seasons, so it'll be a brilliant thing to watch in the coming weeks and how everybody will come together. With that being said and done, that will conclude both of the sets that will be on broadcast. And Twisted Visions will win 3-0 with one draw, and Exsto Gaming will sadly not get a map. They will be swept out by PIXL 4 maps to 0, and that will be where our broadcast will conclude. Do not fret though, we will have more matches tomorrow night. And starting at 7 o'clock, we will have Morph Black versus Cascade, and at 8:30 we will have Diddy versus Twisted Visions, which you did see this evening. But that will conclude everything from me, Dreamboat, and GL Phoenix. And gentlemen, any parting words or any plugs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna plug kind of all three of our Twitter handles. I am at Dreamboat Cast. If you enjoyed casting, all three of us would absolutely love the support. Cyberwaste is at I am Cyberwaste. GL Phoenix is at GL Phoenix _. You guys have been great. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, Phoenix, any other shout outs other than our Twitters?
No, I think you guys have covered it all. I'm very, very happy to let you guys close it out for us.
Oh, and don't forget Zero Aim, our lovely producer. He hasn't sent me his Twitter handle and I can't find it. So if he sends it to me really quickly, we'll give him a quick shout out.
I've actually got it for you. It is Zero Aim, and that 0 is a 0, which is very on brand. I can really appreciate that.
It's spelt 0, but the O is a 0, not the 0 is a 0. You said the 0 is the 0.
It's getting late at night here in Australia. But with all that said and done, that is where our broadcast will conclude. We thank you for joining us for the first night of the Rise Up Invitational. Please tune in tomorrow night to see more of this contest be played out. Be really curious to see how it all pans out, as a matter of fact. Good night, happy fragging, and be the best hero you can be.